Hello, we're back. So we're waiting on a couple people, or at least one person who just finished doing Mang with me. But is this everyone else's first thing this morning or second thing?
I was on Dave's stream for a little bit. But
how is that going?
Pretty well.
He's hanging in there.
Pretty well. I haven't said anything to him today, so I'm hoping it went really well.
Yeah, no, he's at like I think he's at like 7K or something.
That does not surprise me at all.
Yeah. So. He's a little punchy right now, but that's to be expected.
Shit, Peter, you're Mitch, you liar. I just realized it because the mustache fucked me up so bad.
I didn't want to tip his hand.
God damn it.
You're joking.
You master disguise.
I thought you knew who I was.
I
thought you were doing a bitch.
I feel so fucking dumb right now. It's the best. Oh, kudos to you.
For
God,
taking
I
advantage.
honestly did not know. I was like,
taking advantage of your exhaustion.
I don't know Peter. I know Peter's, but I don't know this Peter. Who is this? I'm racking my brain over here, and the whole time you're like, "Hey, you know Peter." God damn, do I know another Peter? And then when I was like, "Wait a second, you're fucking Mitch." You're like, "I'm a method actor." I don't know if you knew this or not. That might be.
No, I thought you were just doing a bit, so I was playing along.
Oh, I think this might be the complete. This might be the highlight so far of my entire weekend, is being so fucking oblivious. Oh, god damn it, that's glorious.
The mustache does change the face a lot.
Yeah, you look vastly different than the last time I saw you.
It's a yeah, you can pull that off.
It's a good look. Like nothing you looked before did not, but I can't.
This fills in.
When I do this, it looks like a dying caterpillar on my face.
Yeah, this is about just like 3 weeks or so.
Holy shit!
You were born in the wrong decade.
You have to use your heat vision to fucking laser off your hair, because god damn, that's impressive.
Kinda, yeah. Like if I want to be even close to clean shaven, have to shave every single goddamn morning.
Oh my god. I will never have that problem. Even this mass is just like scraggle.
Yeah. In relation to be born in the wrong decade, one time when I was out work, just like doing something outside, a random passerby said I looked like a certain actor whose name starts with R.
Burt Reynolds?
R.
I know, but I don't know anyone who starts with whose name starts with an R that I can think of.
RJ. Oh, you sweet summer child.
Yeah. The hedgehog.
Yeah.
You have to
look it up.
Adult actor.
Oh, sexual predator.
Yes. Well,
yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking of an actor, like not a guy who can
not a human turd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was not sure how to take that. I was taken aback. I was with my friend, and we were just both like dumbfounded. Like, okay.
I think that at that point you go, thank you, I guess. I've been told I look like a many different people, but never that.
Yeah. So the mustache was grown. Oh, sorry, Ben.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, so mustache is actually going away this weekend. I just grew it for my Halloween costume, where I went as Peter from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Solid. I'm sorry, Mitch. If I could grow that mustache, I'd never fucking cut it off. I would just have variations of that thick, beautiful mouth mane. I would sometimes then make it go down like a shoe. I would grow sideburns to turn myself into Lemmy occasionally. I would just go buck wild with that bad boy. Like my brother can grow some significant facial hair, and he always can do it with his mutton chops.
Oh, when I do have facial hair, that's what I do.
Yeah, he can do that, but he's also balding. And look at this, baby. And I got that hair that will probably never bald. Instead, I get these like, pew. I wonder if Colin's okay now. I'm gonna put this in our YouTube and our Facebook real quick.
But yeah, it's
I can't even tell if I'm writing coherently right now. The man who lost everything.
I think it's been a few months since I've seen you, Matt. How you doing?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How are you?
Therapy helps a lot.
Yeah, it can. It can.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's
I
like,
don't know. Dealing with we got we're having some cat drama lately, but other than that,
Matt's got them pussy problems.
It's been pretty.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I just pulled a boon on a charity stream. I guess at least I didn't do it live, brother. I don't know why I did that. Now I understand how Boone thinks. Just says things. I agree. Mental health,
Constant level of
a lack of filter.
yeah.
Oh, since you're both here and you didn't see this earlier, I'm gonna ask your opinions. I do have to make some adjustments, but I got some painting done today.
Ooh.
Thoughts. I need to orange up the face a little bit, but
Oh yeah, that's looking good.
this is based on. Let me see if I can pull up the picture real quick. Of course, I had it like 18 times ready earlier for.
You're basing it off like one of the Remco like early '80s Savage World.
Yeah, Iguano.
Okay.
Nice.
But so when they did that guy did those unofficial DC bios, they went crazy and made like them for everything. Motu on I can't spell unofficial. Oh. I hate it when like I put in something that should be first thing that shows up and it doesn't show up at all. And because I'm lazy and I don't want to look it up on my own Dropbox. Oh, there's Colin. Colin! Whoop, whoop.
Hey.
I would show. Oh, there. Guana. Guana. I was going to show him this picture. The one we were talking about earlier.
Oh.
For comparison, because we were giving you time to do your dark business. There he is. This was, and then there's the picture in the little corner of the OG Remco figure with the derpiest Triceratops face ever, which is saying a lot.
Cool.
But yeah, I like this version overall. So I'm very intrigued to see if I can do like a Motu Origins version.
We're going to get the Acolyte fee.
What?
Yeah, just tabs, doing tab stuff.
Oh, okay.
So many tabs.
I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Oh, someone's got an echo. Okay, let's get into things. First things first. I want to know who everybody is. I think everybody probably made their characters already. With power.
Yes.
Okay. Colin did not. Luckily, Colin, they're pretty easy. Did you pull up the game at all?
Let me do that.
I also
I totally
have it
forgot I
out.
was playing. I'm so sorry.
No, you're good, man. I have it on my screen. If you just want to look at my screen, I can share it.
Sure.
All right. I'm not sure. I wish I remembered so I can give credit to where credit's due, but I don't remember where I got this. But this is a Lasers and Feelings superhero hack, and there's a few of them out there, but I liked this one. Maybe it's because there was things like Professor Pandemonium, the Nowhere Club, Knock the Fair of Mars, or beginning. I was like, okay, you got me there. So the first thing you need to do, it's a more robust Lasers and Feelings. You pick a power, or pick a power set, pick a power source, pick a style, pick a superhero identity, and pick a secret civilian identity. Also, you pick one weakness, of course, or a problem. If you don't want to pick, you can just roll separately on this handy dandy matrix they made, which I really appreciate. Or you can just pick a number where it says pick a number from 2 to 5. A higher number means your power. Oh, that's for the actual powers.
Yeah.
2 to 5. High number means you're powerful. Low number means you're responsible. Good with people, finding clues, handling civilian identity, managing team dynamics. And so then it's just like any Lasers and Feelings game. You know, I would basically say this is a power roll. And you would roll that. I'm trying to remember if it's like one's above, one's below. I'm sorry, my brain is completely fucking melted.
Oh, so power for power, if it is above it, right? No, below it succeeds. For responsibility, right. If it's above, yeah.
Power's below, responsibilities above.
Yes,
and it's also a game with success with consequences, failure with consequence, and success with no consequence, basically. So we need to make your guy real quick, Colin. So while you kind of figure that out really quick, John Q, the Eerie Enigma, tell me about yourself. And Matt, you don't have your character name up, so you.
Yeah, I don't know what my character name is yet. Go come up with one.
All right,
Matthew.
All right, so basically, my character, I wasn't quite sure. Are we in like which Justice Society era are we on? Like 1940s or more modern? Because mine can be in either.
You're like the modern JSA where they're basically like training heroes.
Okay.
So like,
all right.
I kind of think of this as like a alternate current continuity. So like absolute that just happened. Absolute, not the absolute universe, but like the current all-in DC thing.
Yeah. Okay.
Where the JSA is this massive group of the older heroes who are like, we're helping all these younger, whoever, even if they're villains, like you can come in from the cold and we're here to help you become the best you can. Not villains, but just like best heroes.
All right. Character works in either setting. So little bit of like deep cut. So my character is actually one of the Saturnarian variants of Faceless Hunter, who got stranded on Earth by being hexed and is trying to learn magic to unbreak the hex, but also since the hex sealed off their innate Saturnarian abilities. So basically they're basically sort of like a bootleg version of a trenchcoat brigade member.
Okay. And I'm assuming appears like a human being, or do they appear like the Faceless Hunters?
Faceless Hunter. So sort of like a pointed-eared question.
Yeah. Like no face. Yeah. Faceless Hunters aren't Faceless Hunters like big though? Aren't they like tall?
So I was concerned about that. So I did lore research. So basically they are actually usually microscopic, but they can change their size as they want. They usually appear bigger to be more intimidating, but they can appear at human size. So my thing is they were trying to infiltrate, then they got stuck at that size.
Perfect. I love their look. Are you keeping the same colors for like your trench coat?
Oh,
like purple. Purple and black.
Yeah, like purple, black. Also the nice like orange yellow skin. Yeah.
Okay, I love this. I fucking love this. All right, perfect. For people who are not familiar, this is like a deep cut, like Green Lantern villain. I want to say
Like they've showed up a
Adam
lot.
Strange as well.
For some reason, I associate the Legion, but I'm probably totally off base there.
No, I believe they fought the Legion in the 30th century as well.
Yeah. Also they are very similar in like their design to like the Legion, like Durlans, anyways, but with like facial features.
Yeah.
They do look.
Yeah.
I think they may have. Again, this is going to be deep. This is going to be deep cut galore. I think they've actually retconned them into being like they and the Durlans are like offshoots of the same race. Yeah, which makes sense. I couldn't remember. I believe they've all, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think we've seen them in animation as well on Batman Brave and the Bold.
Yes, that is actually like where I first learned about them, and that was just like a great story arc. Made you care about Bwana Beast.
Batman Brave and the Bold is a wildly underrated
it's so
series. And Diedrich Bader is also a widely underrated Batman.
He's a fantastic Batman.
Yeah. I will die on that hill. I believe he's still doing a voice in the new Batman series as well.
I haven't checked out any of it.
I thought he was like
I hear
on
it's
the
good.
cast. I've heard very mixed things about it, but mixed in a way where I think I'll like it. Yeah. Whereas like the bitching and complaining about it, I was like, I don't care about that.
Yeah.
Matt, tell us about your dude. Also, I love the name the Eerie Enigma, John Q. It sounds very like Ultra Q, like very like early Ultraman type shit, which makes me. Oh, I didn't ask. What are your superpowers? My bad.
So basically, so I'm going the closest thing to sort of like magically power set. So I'm like mentalist. So more or less sort of like John Constantine or also another deep cut. Just was reading through this last week. Fantastic and like in a weird point in DC history.
I'm not familiar with this.
Colin, do you still need time to create a character? Because I can like vamp for like about like 3 minutes about this.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. I'd love to hear.
I fucking love it.
Yeah. So basically, this is like a revamp of like a 1970s like DC horror humor title. Stanley and the Monster, who have like appeared in the Fox and Crow anthology series.
Yes, I'm familiar with that. I did not remember that though.
Yeah, so this was actually like done by I always predict Phil Fuglio. It does like Girl Genius.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like this actually like so they recon like the monster as like a demon from hell that was like banished for being too nice. But it occupies like a weird part in like DC continuity where like Sandman was still part of like main DC continuity. So this basically takes up right off after Seasons of Mist, after the Angels take over hell, and they feature in it. And it's just like super weird that it's basically, this is like a direct spin off of Sandman, but no one ever talks about it.
That's wild.
Well, that's like the editorial stuff. There's like 4, I want to say, Airsats, Constantines in the DC universe. Like, because different writers were like, I want to use Constantine. They're like, well, you can't. So that's why Willoughby Kipling exists. There was a character in.
Oh, I think you've told me this before.
Yeah. Anyway.
No, I see.
There's one in here. Ambrose Bierce. Basically, they introduce him, and he gets offended that people confuses him with Constantine.
Yeah. Yes, I thought that was one of that series.
Has anyone ever like brought those characters, all the others except for John Constantine, together?
I don't think so.
That's such an amazing story that could have.
I mean, it's such a. I mean, honestly, I don't even know where Willoughby Kipling still is these days. But having him in the Doom Patrol TV series, I wish he was still kicking around.
I've yet to watch that season. So
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, he's in all 4 seasons, I think.
I don't remember him in the early seasons.
Oh yeah, he's totally there.
He was played by I'm forgetting his name. Crowley from Supernatural.
Mark Shepard.
I'm not a
Oh.
Supernatural guy.
You will see him if like you know his also Diedrich Bader is Harvey Dent in the new Batman series.
That's what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what a good voice for that role. Which, by the way, last night we played Anyone Can Wear the Cape. We played for like 2 hours and then bullshitted for an hour. And I had a character called Mr. Ghost who was an alien from another dimension who was pretending to be a person. I kind of said, I don't know if Mr. Ghost is actually transported to our realm or if he just is sleeping and this is what he imagines. But in his home dimension, he's just like a protoplasmic blob with tentacles. So like when he's around, if he's around people too long, they start to figure out that something's very wrong. But he talks like he doesn't fully he understands human language, but does not understand how it works. So whenever he would refer to Dan Davis, city commissioner, he would always say his catchphrase from when he saw him on television, "I'm here to work for you." So even when we talked to his wife, who he's in a book club with, he would say, "Do you mean your husband, city commissioner Dan Davis? I work for you?" And she'd be like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, you weirdo. I was just like, we were both so tired. I was like, this is I'm feeling this character big time.
Ben, where can I find that page you had in the what's it called?
Discord. In the Dropbox, you can find it in the other games folder. And the under 10 page games folder.
Okay.
There it is.
All right.
I can also send it to you if you'd like.
I put it in the private chat.
Thank you. Because it is just a Word document. So I believe I got it off somebody who had just like posted a JPEG of it, because sometimes I'll find like just JPEGs of like one page games. And I'll be like, well, I don't want to have just a JPEG of something. It's hard to share effectively. And sometimes I'll be honest, it's hard for me to read.
Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, because JPEGs don't scale.
Yeah. The problem is I wish I would have written down who exactly created the game, because I'm very, very fond of it.
It's great. Like I'm going to try to start up like an RPG group again. And I know we're probably going to play like D&D, but on like off weeks, I would like just like simple games like this, just like where you can roll up a character in like 3 minutes is wonderful.
So one thing I will suggest, and Duke was kind enough to share it with me, is this game, Anyone Can Wear the Cape. There's only 3 players. One person plays the hero, one person plays the villain, and one person plays the city. And it is a very low dice usage game. You also use a deck of cards. It kind of reminds me of a version of The Quiet Year a little bit. So it's a lot of like just back and forth decision-making, role-playing stuff. Like you decide like there's a suit of cards that is your area of the city, depending on like the level. Like when we were playing like Mr. Ghost would be like Martian Manhunter level, maybe, but like lower Martian Manhunter level. But I had an area of the city I lived in that was like my area of the city. And there were other heroes in the city. There were villains and all kinds of things. Like you're drawing cards to see what the event is and where it is in one of these like 5 areas of the city, each one with a suit. And then you're just consulting like what kind of thing it is. And when you run out of the first deck, that's like when something really bad happens. And then the second deck is like, it's basically the hero's journey. It's like, look, I'm becoming popular. Oh, the bottom drops out. Got to build myself back up. But you can also play it as a 1-player game or as a 2-player game. It's a fascinating game. And the like spreadsheet that is the character sheet is like a lot to fill out. But the real cool thing is like, you're putting in the people and the events as you go. So it's more of a broader scan of a superhero story rather than like crunchy minutia. So there would be things like that would get mentioned, like that Hess Clutch, which is the human name that Mr. Ghost has adopted, was in a book club, an all women's book club, because he was so awkward around people that he loved reading. And he also brought very unusual snacks. So, which led into the fact that he was in this book club with Dan Davis, city commissioner. He works for you.
What?
You know, it was it was almost like just throwing ideas at each other and then stacking, in like a storytelling way. And I loved it. I was like, I love games like that. So fascinating. And it's a sit down like 3-hour game, and depends on like, you can get even more like robust into it if you do have 3 players. Like we were Duke was playing the city, I was playing the hero, and we were both playing the villain. But we never got to the villain. The villain had never completely revealed themselves. I was dealing with other minor issues the entire time. Like the first thing I dealt with was an alien invaded, and they were shooting electricity out of them, and I thought they were in trouble. So I asked them, "Do you need assistance? I do know CPR. How may I assist you?" Then they shot me with electricity. So I turned plus my guy, very similar to your guy, Mitch, an alien who uses actual magic.
Yeah, that's like, so like this character is like I derived from like a weird alternate universe which I had for like different kind of like DC Trinity. Like part of it is basically, what if there was an asthmatic Aquaman who was raised on the surface and like goes by the name like Ultra with like 2 A's based off that like old
about Ultra the Ultimate Alien,
the multi-alien.
Yeah.
Multi-alien, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I wish there was an alien team that had him and Jem Set of Saturn and Martian Manhunter on it. Adam Strange, a cool Thanagarian. I mean, I know one cool Thanagarian. DC.
Golden Eagle.
I do like Golden Eagle, actually.
I don't think Golden Eagle is Thanagarian though.
Mm-mm.
Oh yeah, he's adopted, right? Or
yeah, he's from California.
Okay. Infinity Inc. Confusing.
Yeah. He wasn't in Infinity Inc. He was in the Teen Titans.
Oh, that was
I'm thinking of the guy who became a bird person.
Yeah, who always looked really goofy to me.
I can't think of his name.
Northwind?
It was something Wing.
Northwind.
You're right. It wasn't Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he became a bird person, and now he pals around with. I used to plow along with Black Adam. So I don't know if that's still where he's at. Like his whole people like hyper evolved in order to survive. So they turned from like earthbound Thanagarians into like these big bird people, which I was always thought, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a good way to tie him into Kingdom Come. It's like, this is why he looks like this now, is because because humanity is awful. So his people were like, oh, better force evolution our way into giant angry bird people. All right. Matt, who are you? The Detail.
Lucas
Yes. Tresk. Tell us about Lucas Tresk.
So yeah, I was a DEO analyst. And just compiling data on superhumans and tracking movements and trends and things like that, driving a desk somewhere. And then there was an incident in the building that gave me, just kind of your bog standard powers, so this Apex human deal. So, just enhanced strength, speed, durability, all that stuff. Nothing too out of the ordinary. So yeah, and then they were like, well, cool. Now you can be a field agent for us. And I was like, well, no, I don't want to do that. They're like, well, that's tough. because if you want to keep your job and your health care and all that stuff, that's what you're going to do. So I laughed. And I will. I'm going to send you a message on Facebook here that will tell you some other stuff.
Cool. All right, that brings us to Rocky Maxitansky, the bunker, also known as Bunker Buster, which I really like this name. Part of me was going.
So yeah, Rocky Maxitansky. I don't know. Is a kind of brooding loner. By day he's a cabbie. He was once exposed to some tainted motor oil, which mutated him and gave him the powers to shoot out some pretty cool blasts out of his hands and stuff. He does need to recharge every so often. Also,
do we know where this
because he went through some emotional trauma of.
Do we know where this tainted motor oil came from?
No, it one day arrived in the auto shop he worked in a big beat up old box, and he was just like, you know what, I'm going to use this for this oil change I'm doing.
Might I recommend?
I was going to say, is it like
Stag Industries?
Well, or it could have been a Bloodlines parasite fell into the.
Bloodlines.
Okay, we'll go with that.
God, that's a great deep cut. I thought I was pulling a little bit of a deep cut. You were like, I see you and I raise you.
And the emotional trauma he went through was losing his wife and child in a horrific road accident where they were run down by evil bikers.
I just realized what you're doing. It took me a second, but now I know what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. So can you all tell me which member of the JSA basically has sponsored you?
So even who's currently. I guess it doesn't matter if they're current or not.
I would say, just toss out a name, and we can tie it pretty well. But or just an established character who might go, hey, you need better training, no offense, and I know a place where you can go that won't treat you like you don't know what you're doing, but it will instead take what you do well now and just make it better. Also, I feel like the JSA has turned into also a networking system.
Yeah.
I kind of love. And that the JSA members that are now also in the Justice League Unlimited and the Titans that are in the Justice League Unlimited are like sub teams inside this giant team. Because something was said about like all these Titan members are now part of the Justice League, and they're like, well, we're still the Titans. We want you to know that. Like if push comes to shove, we're still Titans. And I love that idea of like, you have these characters who all grew up together who are like, yeah, but we're still our own thing. And that the JSA members are like, yeah, we're here, but we're also still a part of the Justice Society. So like, understand that we're on board with the mission, but we also have other responsibilities. I think that's brilliant.
So ultimately, through the circuitous web, because Cameron Chase was in the DEO and felt kind of, sorry for me. So she got me in touch with Kate. Crap, what's her last name?
Kate Kane?
No, the fifth Manhunter.
Oh, Kate Shaw.
Oh,
it's not Shaw, but
I thought it was Shaw.
Spencer.
No,
he wouldn't think Kate Bishop. Who the fuck is Kate Bishop?
Kate Bishop is
Hawkeye.
Yeah, Hawkeye. But no, Kate Spencer.
Why was I thinking Shaw? Is it
Michael Shaw?
Mark Shaw was the second and
the cool Manhunter
or whatever.
Yeah, he was also the privateer in Starzar.
Yes, and it was maybe going to be Azrael for a minute, but they never paid that off. Anyway,
what?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, they were setting that up in the Manhunter run, and like to the point where the Order of Saint Dumas gave him a Azrael suit, and he's like, "Nah, I don't think I want to do this."
Whatever happened to Mark Shaw, by the way? Is he dead in DC continuity right now?
I don't know.
One of those characters who has fall victim to like just disappearing.
Yeah. But yeah.
And
So
also, didn't he have a clone?
that's right. He's Leviathan.
Oh, he's in a Leviathan. Okay, he
Yeah.
is Leviathan.
Yes.
I didn't read that.
Oh, from the Mark Michael Bendis.
Bendis. Yeah.
Everything I touch is poop.
Yeah. So he's Leviathan. I forgot about that.
Yeah, didn't he also have like a clone?
I believe he did.
I don't know if Mark Shaw did.
I believe Mark
Paul-
Shaw had a clone.
Paul Kirk had many clones.
Okay, I get them confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, the original Manhunter had many clones, including the one Kirk DePaul, who was part of the Power Company.
Okay, that's the one I'm thinking of. Who also, for some odd reason, had the same costume as Mark Shaw, right?
No, it was
And
the same
when he was in
costume. It was the Paul Kirk costume, just in black instead of red.
Okay.
I do love the Manhunter outfit. I like the metal mask Manhunter outfit though. Not like the metal space cop outfit, but like the mix of the martial artist with the cool like metal mask. Like the MF Doom mask basically prior to him.
Yeah, 80s Mark Shaw.
Yeah, 80s Mark Shaw's really good.
Oh.
I used to have those issues somewhere. Colin, you might have them now.
Probably.
Kirk DePaul was killed. So
Okay. All right. So who are your I'm sorry, we're just going off on this is what I'm glad we're playing with you three because I know you'll nerd hard on this. What are your sponsors?
Oh, I'm gonna do a cop out and say Dr. Fate, because Dr. Fate's like, I don't want weird magic people just like messing around with shit that they don't know.
That's fair. I didn't even know who the current Dr. Fate is, to be honest with you. So
It's probably just a helmet at this point.
Oh, I love when it's just
it's somebody, but it's it's John's. I don't want to get into John's. Anyway.
I mean, I loved Kent Nelson as Dr. Fate. Why did you get rid of Kent?
Because he was old.
Kent and Enza for life.
They're happy.
Inside the helmet.
Yeah, happy ending. Colin, if you don't have an idea for a sponsor, do you?
Yeah.
Because I was gonna
I'm not sure.
I was gonna suggest
Damage?
That's what I was thinking of, but is Damage still around?
I was gonna suggest Pat Dugan.
Ooh.
Yeah, Damage is
Right.
Pat Dugan's a good one. Damage was around, bad guy, good guy, dead, back, Black Lantern, sleeper agents, but back again now in current continuity, I believe. Oh, he was also a giant monster for the New 52, but it was a different guy.
That's a different Damage, yeah.
Which may or may not
Okay.
come up to play there. All right. Anyway, so
are you including New Age of Heroes? Everyone forgot about that.
Who would do such a thing? You are all three at the Brownstone, the JSA Brownstone.
Actually, apparently Damage is teamed up with Dan the Dynamite now.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of cool. Because I like Dan the Dynamite a lot.
Oh, sure.
So the fact that they kind of stuck those two together as a team, I was like, that's kind of cool. You're all three at the Brownstone, and you're there because you were given a chance to work with two established heroes, basically on a training exercise. And this is the Ray, who is the Prime Earth version of the Ray. It's Ray Terrell. And Cynthia Reynolds, who previously went by the name Gypsy, and I have changed that because that is a racist ass term. DC changed her fucking name and is going by the name Roma. And they are there because they've both been in the Justice League previously. So they're there to talk about like how important like legacy is, and how like what you're doing is building towards what you want. But one of the things you can be building towards is like a potential future in the league. Like what they're trying to do here in the JSA is give folks like yourselves an opportunity to maybe be the next generation that is, you know, like the paragons of humanity. This goes on for a while, and all of a sudden someone appears in the hallway. You guys are going to eat lunch together, and like Ma Hunkle has prepared a massive meal. When someone appears in the hallway, they're in a almost blackish, like skin tight suit. They're wearing like a tattered, almost patinaed like neck piece with a T in the middle of it. They look haggard. They look tired. They look beaten up, and they kind of stumble down the hallway, and they're like, I finally found you, Ray, Cynthia, I found you. And they both look at each other and they just can't place this person. And they're like, how did you get in the building? Like, who are you? And he's like, you have to remember me. Like you know me. So the first thing I want you guys to do each is to actually make me a responsibility roll.
Okay. That is true.
So you're wanting to roll above your number, I believe. Right? Isn't it above for responsibility, below?
Yeah.
Above for responsibility, below for power.
Okay.
Yeah. I failed. I got a 1.
So
I got a 5.
how many die are we rolling here? Is it just
a D6, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a D6.
Yeah, just 1 D6. Okay.
Yeah, you can be more in certain circumstances. Let me remember what that is.
If you're good at situations like this, or if you've previously prepared for this, or if you're working off something set up by a teammate.
Okay, yeah.
Right. So I got a 5.
Okay. And Bunker Buster, you got a
5, and my level's.
Yeah, so I'm at a 3.
I'm at 3 too.
All right. You two have a vague recollection of an individual in a similar costume, but it was more blue, and the armor was more gold, and they were a hero in some version of the Justice League. You can't recall, but that you think maybe you remember like the word triumph.
You beautiful bastard.
And he's like literally grabbing the Ray and Roma, and he's just like, you have to remember me. And he kind of stands away from them. He closes his eyes, and you can feel like a change in the like energy in the room. Do you want to just let this go on, or do you want to intervene? What do you want to do here? Because you can feel like something happening to this whole area you're standing in. Like you can feel like the electromagnetic energy of the room changing, and like it pushing on your brain. Maybe not the same with yours, John Q, because your physiology is different, but it's definitely like you can still feel something's going on.
I mean, is there like a JSA Brownstone equivalent of a fire alarm to like?
Yeah, I would say for sure.
Because I feel like that would be.
But you also know there's not very many people here right now. Mainly support personnel.
There's some weird dude here. It's not supposed to be here. And
can I roll my superpower to see if like I'm sensing if they're trying to like mind control anyone?
Yes, you can.
I got a 2.
Hey.
I succeed.
They are definitely. You're not sure they're trying to control, but they are definitively trying to fiddle with minds. They are definitively trying to get inside, especially these two established heroes' heads, and move memories around. You think you're not exactly sure how this power works because it's a nonsense power. Bioelectrical shit in your brain, really, for mind control. Come on, Mark, be better.
Can I run to the wall and draw a sigil with the chalk, which I keep in my pocket as a protection ward against this?
Yes, you may. So as you do that, detail Bunker Buster, what are you two doing?
I'm gonna try and do the pull the fire alarm equivalent.
You activate the alert system in the Brownstone. Bunker Buster.
I guess I'm gonna start like kind of charging up the energy blast that I have stored up in me, and turning to this guy, trying to get his attention, be like, hey, stand down. What are you doing?
Okay. So as you start to charge up, what kind of what is your like energy blast? Do you know what they're made of, or is it just like nonsense power? Which I mean that like nonsense power just mean like random superhero shit.
Yeah, just random superhero shit that like I fire out like blasts that make shit blow up.
Perfect. So you start to charge, and as you're doing so, this guy looks at you side eye, reaches out, and he is just pulling energy off of you. Like he's just absorbing it with one hand. He's just pulling all this stuff you're charging. He's like using it to power himself up.
Oh, I'm realizing this, right?
Yeah, you like feel this, like,
okay.
Oh shit, this feels like I'm being like he's just siphoning off everything I'm building. So he's not taking like your life force or anything, but as you're starting to build for a potential blast, he's just absorbing that excess energy you would use to blast.
Okay, then I immediately like stop what I'm doing and tell Detail like we need help. Ace.
Detail, as soon as you pull the alarm, he uses his other hand and the alarm beeps like 3 times, and then there's a brownout in the Brownstone as he just like pulls the electricity right out of it.
Cool.
And Cynthia looks at him and says, looks at him kind of blankly at first, and says, just kind of blinking for a second, says, Will? And then Ray does the same thing. They both kind of look kind of stunned. And that's when John, as you complete your symbol, they both immediately go, what? They both snap to and go, what? Who are you? I want all 3 of you to make me a responsibility roll, please.
Okay.
Woo. 6 success.
Success.
I got a 6 as well.
Damn. What'd you get? Detail?
5.
You all are just like, I'm just gonna kill this for the rest of the game. You see him turn and look at John Q. Just like all of a sudden he goes from like kind of this passive, like concentrating, and then he looks at you with just this utter like anger. Like you've ruined this. And he glances and he looks past you. And that look goes from like almost rage to absolute abject terror. Almost to the point where you see his very light blonde hair almost whiten in front of you. Like someone who gets that scared, their hair turns white. This is that type of moment. And he backs away. He almost falls down as he backs down the hallway. All 3 of you realize this isn't you and glance over your shoulders. And you see what looks like a middle-aged man in a t-shirt and a suit jacket, wearing a mask that looks like a Halloween mask from the 80s that keeps shifting to different DC heroes, like that idealized Super Friends look. Just it's sliding. Occasionally it's nothing, but it just kind of moves. It's the Flash. It's Superman. You know the mask I'm talking about that had the little slit you'd madly got your tongue on?
The Ben Cooper.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's standing at the end of the hallway, and he's just looking kind of Michael Myers head tilted sideways look. And Triumph flees out the door. Like he runs through the emergency door out into the I'm trying to remember, the Brownstone's in New York, but it's like by a park. I just can't remember what all of a sudden. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I didn't write it down. Oh, it wasn't in Civic City. One got blowed up. This second one's in New York. Or maybe it's the third one's. The fourth one's in New York. It's in Battery Park.
Battery Park. Okay.
He stumbles out, and the door is open. So you could follow him if you want, because you look at this guy for a long time. He's got that head tilt look at you, and then he slowly fades, like in front of you. He just slowly discorporates. Evaporates. There's a word I'm trying to say there. I can't think of what it is.
Dissolves almost?
Yeah, like it's like he almost like he's being erased. Ray and Cynthia are both kind of in a daze. Like they're just kind of overwhelmingly stunned. They don't really have a reaction. They're all just like kind of look lost. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's freaking me out. Did anybody else hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
I heard that.
That was amazing. Like it sounded like something trying to sound human through like a vocoder.
Yeah.
That was creepy. I don't think it's me, but I
don't know where that came from. But
it's.
Yeah, like it was like Alien. Oh gosh, what's the director? David Lynch. If David Lynch was doing like an alien version of the red was it the red one? Oh, it's Black Lodge. I'm sorry. I'm so tired.
Ooh.
What do you guys want to do? Do you want to help the Ray and Roma, or do you want to follow Triumph?
I mean,
so
see if they're okay.
They seem to be okay. They just seem to be really out of it, very confused. Like, if you've ever been around someone who has like, is like punch drunk, where they're, or punchy, I guess is what some people call it, where the lights are on, but no one's really home.
Yeah.
Like just had concussions or something.
Yeah. Like, or like it has the 10-mile stare. Like, they're like looking past you because like, it's just like they're out of it. These two look like that. Like they're making sense. They're breathing fine, but it looks like maybe this thing that John Q stopped really like, they need some time to reboot.
Well, I do not want to follow Triumph because I think I'm going to be a little freaked out that he was able to draw off of my powers.
I am going to follow him.
Okay. What are you doing?
Now that I've confirmed that they're probably going to be okay, I'm going to also follow.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'm going to tag along.
But no. Here's the thing, Bunker Buster. To me, that's cool that Rocky's got like oh shit, this guy can kind of take away.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, you could. I mean, you can stay with him until help arrives,
or just like you could be like a reticent, like, well, shit, if everyone's going, I guess I'm going too. This is bullshit. Which is what me as a human would be like. I'm like, oh god damn it, I don't want to do this. I guess I gotta go do this.
I'll go get him some like orange juice and a cookie.
I love it.
Make sure they're all right.
So
get their blood sugar back up.
do yours. We'll do yours first. So the other two look at each other and just go, I guess, and you guys start chomping your way down through the hallway in pursuit. Bunker Buster, you like watch this happen and you go, okay. And you start running towards the kitchen area and you run smack dab into Ma Hunkle.
Okay.
Ma Hunkle, who, for those that don't know, was the Golden Age Red Tornado.
Yes.
And was a member of the All-Star Squadron. I don't know if she was ever an official member of the Golden Age JSA or not, but she was very close with everybody. She's like an older like grandma, but she's also like thick as a brick.
She will mess you up.
Yeah, she will fuck you up. Her helmet when she was Red Tornado was just a pot with 2 holes in it.
Yes.
And she wore like long johns, but
Yeah.
she would fuck some Nazis up.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah.
She was not afraid to drop a
So
crap.
the Nazis stepped into her neighborhood. They were going down.
Yeah. She was not playing. She runs into you and you realize at that moment, like, God damn, Ma is thick. And she's like, what happened? Tell me what happened.
Explain.
She's got
this
like
guy-
oven mitts on and she's like pulling them tighter, like boxing gloves almost. Like, tell me what happened. Did Colin freeze? Oh, I thought you froze for a second.
Just a hot second. Hot second.
That was beautiful.
All right. Ma, this guy just came in. He drew my powers off me. He's got he turned off the alarm. We need orange juice and cookies.
She looks at you and she goes, I'll take care of that. She looks up at you because she's short. She's not a large woman. I mean, she's like as wide as she is tall. I think she's like as wide as she is tall. And I don't mean chunk.
She's a square.
She's square of muscle. She's an old lady who will bust your ass.
Yes.
Okay.
She looks at you and she just like, she looks up at you kind of like at first with like these kind of like hard eyes. And then she like lightens up into like, again, this very motherly figure, reaches up and kind of pinches you on the cheek. She goes, well, what are you waiting for, Rocky? Go take care of business. And she smiles like, and she goes, I got this. You go do your thing, kid.
But you don't understand. This guy,
She turns and looks at you and she's like, she looks at you, she turns her head sideways and she says, you wouldn't be here if you couldn't handle it. Go get him. Remember, you're not by yourself.
All right.
You always got teammates.
Yes. I swallow my pride a little bit then, feeling like I can't let her down.
Also, I want to get across that, like, her giving you this pep talk makes you feel like, well, shit, if Ma believes in me, then, you know, well, goddamn, I gotta believe in myself. Also, there's Ma.
Yeah.
Ma, not to be played with.
See, she's listed as 5'10", so
I
Really?
have a hard time with height.
Well, yeah, because you're a giant.
Yeah, it's like when I was younger, I would be like, I don't understand how big someone is until I'm literally standing next to them. Because they're like, oh, so and so's huge, and then I'd stand next to them and I'd be like, they're not huge. But then I would meet somebody who was huge, and I'd be like, oh my god, you blot out the sun.
Yeah, how tall are you?
I'm around 6'5".
Okay.
Yeah,
And
because
I'm
I'm
much-
6'1" and you tower over me.
I'm much small. I'm not, because I'm old now. I'm nowhere near as wide as I was. There was a point where my shoulders and everything just made me look massive.
Yeah.
My dad to me was always the biggest guy I knew, and then around the time I graduated high school, I could pick him up, and I was like half a head taller than him, and he was a big man.
Yeah, Miles got 2 inches on me, so
he would always be like, "Don't do that. I don't like that." So I have a hard time with that. Like, I can't tell that Cassandra's 5'10" or 5'2".
Because it's just everybody is there's people who
Everybody's
are
fun
taller
size
than
in
me.
Ben's world.
I think it's almost like size blindness.
If people come in grande, venti, and
Yeah, they do. They come in 2 sizes. You're either big or you're small. I don't understand the in between. I'm like, this person big, everyone else small. All right.
like-
Anyway, so you make it outside, and Triumph is literally stumbling backwards, falling over a park bench, knocks down a trash can. He's trying to get up, and you realize just how exhausted he looks, how small, how much like his like armor piece and everything doesn't fit right. Like, especially you two kind of remember seeing this guy on TV where he was like, looks like every superhero. I'm like 6'2" and I'm big ripped blonde haired guy. He looks like not emaciated, but looks just depleted, bombed out and depleted like Buck Nasty's mama.
Am I able to catch up to him and like squat in front of him while he's on the ground?
Yeah, he is like terrified, but also just like almost too exhausted to turn and run. Like he doesn't have even the coordination to do that.
All right, so I'm like squatting in front of him, looking at him as best I can with like no facial features, and I reach into my like pockets, and I pull out a granola bar for him.
He looks up at you and like looks at the granola bar, and he almost starts crying. Like he's just like, help, I need help. And he eats a granola bar and he's just like shoulders sag, and he's just like, I thought if I found them, they would know. He was my best friend and she was my girl for a while, and I thought they would remember, but no one remembers. And as soon as he says that, all three of you remember who he is. You go, oh, you're that guy who claimed to be like one of the founding members of the Justice League. You're that guy who fell through time. Weren't you a bad guy for a while? Oh, didn't you? But you died. Like you're dead. Like you died like saving the league. Like, and like all of this floods into your head. And here's that same guy just sitting on his ass in the dirt with a granola bar, like some of it falling out of his mouth because he's so tired, crying in the middle of Battery Park. What do you want to do?
Well, I look at him. Well, everything I do is quizzical.
It's hard to read your facial expression when you have no face.
Yeah. Like I'm taking time to like process this. Basically like real-time cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
And
also, Mitch, since you're good at that, do you want to pull up pictures of characters, like just so we can put them up?
Sure. I
Do
can do that.
Do you have access to post them without me putting them up for you?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. So you're looking at him quizzically. Detail Bunker Buster. What are you doing?
I'm gonna go up to near Enigma and be like, I remember who you are. What are you doing here?
So one thing too, just playing off of what we talked about with your origin, you like look at this guy and go, oh God, like I've lost a lot, but this guy died. He didn't just die, but he disappeared as well from like everything. There he is. There's what he looked like in his prime.
Yeah. So, I guess like being someone who's gone through a lot of trauma, I recognize kind of the same sort of like shell shock kind of I experienced a little bit from having some kind of great loss. And I feel like maybe he's gone through something very, very similar. Also having the wherewithal that, in the history I know of you gave your life. So just like, what happened? Where have you been? How are you here?
And I'm just kind of processing because the fact that like my job was to know this stuff and this like dropped out is not right.
This guy, as far as you recollect in terms of your data analysis work for the DEO, is like pulling a file where the file's missing. Like there's a name in the file, but there's nothing in the file.
Yeah,
which makes no sense.
Yeah,
you can you'll see this guy's name pop up in other people's files. But when you pull his file, there's nothing there. It's like he only exists in references to other events and people. In fact, you can like kind of remember like seeing a picture where he's in it, but it's like blurry and almost washed out. But he's the only person that looks that way. So it's kind of like he just feels wrong.
Yeah, I mean, this doesn't. I'm very unsettled. This shouldn't be. You know, my whole life was knowing this stuff and not.
Real quick, can I leave, like walk away from him and get to a point where I can no longer see him?
Yes. Yeah, you can I got a feeling with John Q, it reminds me a lot of the question where the question just does whatever the question wants because he's going, his process of figuring something out is so vastly different than everyone else's. It's like people just go, God damn it, Vic, go do your thing.
Yeah. So he's out of sight. Do I remember Triumph?
No.
Okay.
You get around that corner and you go, what? What am I doing? Like, it just kind of doesn't make sense.
Do I feel like confused? Like I feel like something is not there?
No, you feel like there's a tiny hole in your memory of the last like 5 seconds it took you to turn the corner. Like, why
can I turn around? Yeah. This is like a bit of a retcon. I turn to so I go to a point where I can no longer see Triumph, but I also still see Bunker Buster and the detail. Is that okay?
Yeah, that works for me. The moment you kind of look past detail to see what's going on, you do see him, and it all of a sudden it's just like a rubber band that snaps back. And it's kind of that whole like, oh, that's fascinating. That should not work that way.
Can I run back to the group?
Yeah, easily. You can just walk your way back because he's just kind of quietly sobbing a little bit, and he's kind of blubbering about how he's through tears. He's blubbering about how he's being written out. They're taking me away. They say I'm superfluous to the continuity, that I don't matter, that he's just kind of blubbering. It doesn't make any sense to you. And then he again like backs up, his ass dragging his ass on the ground, looking up, and you see on the steps of the brownstone the same masked individual standing there. Like he just kind of almost was, you know what it looks like? It looks like someone sketched him into reality and then colorized him, and all in the span of about 15 seconds.
Like the Take On Me video?
Yeah. Exactly. Aha, Matt.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I asked Triumph, can I please see your hand?
Before this appearance by this masked figure, yes. He definitely gives you his hand.
All right. So I take out my sort of like charcoal thing, and I motion for Bunker Buster and Detail to also come. And like I put all four of our hands in like the center, and I sketch a sigil. It's going to look like the one in the top left, which I'm sharing now. And the purpose is to sort of canonize the experience that we're having right now, in a sense.
No, perfect. It reminds you of the reality of it. Perfect.
Yeah. So the one in the top left.
So this one, the 1940 to 1942.
Yep.
I love it. That is amazing. Perfect. You put the symbol on, and he kind of looks at you funny for a second, and he says, I do not understand, but if this is you helping me, whatever you need to do. Then he has that moment of looking and just scrambling backwards. And you see this figure that has just kind of been drawn into reality, slowly steps down the brownstone steps, kind of straightens his suit jacket that's over a t-shirt that has a logo very similar to the one you described, but it's this logo. Can you see my cursor? It's the 2012 to the 2016 logo.
Mm.
He kind of struts up to about 10 feet of you guys, and his mask just slowly again altering from different characters. He says, none of you have to get involved in this. This really doesn't concern you. You're new here. Nothing's really been decided for any of you. If you get involved in this, well, I'm afraid there'll be a mandate, and you don't want that. Just realize.
I want to metagame so much right here.
There's going to be some in-game meta game. This is already meta enough. I would you say that? You like, or did you just go and then just like lose?
Yeah, I don't even know what to. This is so counter to, what I've been trained and experienced. Like I don't know.
Well, you and I worked on this together a little bit, and I told you what the inspiration was.
Oh yeah.
Do I notice the similarities between what Enigma drew and what's on this guy's shirt?
You notice that one seems just in your mind like super modern, and the other seems very old school.
Okay,
like the one you have on your wrist or on your hand, like all four of you have, is very old school, classic. It feels very very forever green. You're like, oh, I see this and I know what it is. That looks like AI drew the same thing.
Quietly, kind of under my breath, I'm like, Enigma, what is this?
Detail, you're Apex Human, you're strong, right?
Yes.
Will you all follow my lead with what I say?
Absolutely.
Triumph is backing up. He looks terrified. And the longer this person's in his presence, again, like the weaker he looks. Like it's just hiring.
Something's really wrong here. We need to figure this out. We need to stop this. So yeah.
Detail. Grab him. Everyone run, and from my other pocket, pocket sand.
Pocket sand is a spell. You do that. You do that, and he waves his hand, and the sand just crystallizes almost into snow and falls. And he says, I do love a good hero. He says, well,
I'm not a hero.
A good hero deserves a good battle. Snaps his fingers. A portal opens up. And out of this portal, 6 individuals walk out. And while you all have the symbol on your hand, you immediately recognize who these people are. The first is a short, red-skinned, horned youth who you all recognize as Kid Devil.
Kid Devil?
A previous member of the Teen Titans, who you all also remember is dead. You see a version of Supergirl, but she has no face. And her S is an M. You see a bizarre, sharp tooth wearing like a version of Nightwing's big like collar costume from the 80s.
Wing.
Deathwing. You see a cowboy riding on a flying mechanical horse.
Terraman?
You see a man whose skin, or you see a shape of a man whose skin is almost totally coal black, except for lines of red all over where it's like leaking a soft smoke that smells like brimstone. Curse of brimstone. He was also in that new wave.
Oh, that's not fair. That landed like a sweat turd.
I had the trades of that comic. I liked it. It's basically DC's Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
Nick with the apocalypse villain, Brownstone, because he was created by making a deal with the devil, who used the Firestorm Matrix to mix him with Brimstone, the massive, giant, flaming apocalypse villain. Anyway,
yeah, those ones I didn't check out, but
the last one is a mass of a person, looks to be a monster. Someone looks like almost sewn together. And all of you realize you forgot some of these people. This one you definitely forgot. Their name is Damage, who was again in that same group, and it basically was the DC Hulk.
Oh yeah.
Who literally was like the Hulk for an hour.
Yeah.
You see them all kind of materialize out of this portal, similarly to how this person was drawn into existence. And he says, there's 4 of you, and there's my 6 outsiders. So I guess we're going to have a fight now. Fights equal sales. And they all kind of look at him like, I don't want to do this. He says, well, this is your choice. You exist or you cease to exist. And you see Kid Devil especially look across at you guys and go, I'm sorry. And he breathes fire at you. They attack. These 6 outsiders attack you.
Jeez.
What are you doing?
So I do now. We do now recognize these people.
You do, but you also recognize, like, I recognize like that you existed, but some of you don't exist anymore. Like, it's like a dream within a dream within a dream, but you like their names. It's like when you see Triumph.
Yeah.
You're like, you're a person, but you died. Like you were gone. And I kind of don't remember you like it was like the memory is there, but it's like so buried. I remember you more vividly when I look at you. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So are we're in the alley?
No, you're out in front of the Brownstone, like in Battery Park, and these guys are now coming at you.
Yeah.
Like full like charge scene at you 4.
How tall is the Brownstone?
I think the Brownstone is 6 stories.
Yeah, it's not super huge, but
okay. What I want to do is try to use my powers to like kind of like what I call a bunker bumper, which is me blasting into the ground to kind of like rocket myself up onto the top of the building, getting the high ground.
Perfect. You make me a powers roll, please.
3.
Is that it's below, right? So
it's lower than my power level. Okay.
You like realize, oh shit, I want to wreck this area too bad. So you literally blast the ground, shoot yourself up to like to the light pole, and then you beep it again and land right on top of the Brownstone.
Okay.
When you do that, you see mechanical flying horse with cowboy on it come flying out, and he was like, "Hey partner, anything no running out of this fight."
Shit.
I fucking
totally forgot about him.
I love 2 old Superman villains very much. One is Terra Man. The other is the Master Jailer, because that is the goofiest fucking costume. Cool. The goofiest fucking costume. I don't like current Master Jailer. I like old school goofy Master Jailer.
Yeah.
Oh, the one was like the weird like. Oh, I just realized basically, the Batman Who Laughs basically has like an extreme version of the Master Jailer outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. He has the fetishized version of the Master Jailer. They were like, "Hey man, we need to make this extreme."
He has the Clive Barker version.
Yes. Because the Master Jailer outfit looks like pajamas, like weird, like
yeah,
it looks like weird, like superhero pajama outfit. Like makes no sense. Like you're a jailer, but you're wearing like almost a velour outfit. What is going on here?
Yeah,
Detail.
lockup.
Yeah, which are basically more modern versions of the Master
Yes.
Taylor. They're riffs on the original.
I'm gonna try and dodge out of the way of any incoming attacks here and get the lay of the land. So
okay, so you've got like Kid Devil breathes at you. You see what is, it's Matrix Supergirl.
That's what I thought, wasn't sure.
Yeah. Flies right at you. You like back away just as she smashes into the ground like a superhero, like a Superman landing. And you watch as damage starts to just slowly charge at you, and that's what you see. That's the lay of the land. Terraman is following after Bunker Buster on top of the building, and Brimstone kind of is squared off with John Q, not attacking, just kind of like, oh, I can feel like you're a magic guy. I'm a magic guy. Are we gonna do magic duel?
Yeah, we're gonna magic this.
Yeah. You want to make some magic? And behind you right now, Detail is Triumph, who's finally like, it feels like the fight is kind of waking him up out of this stupor, and he's like getting up, like, and when you kind of feel like almost like his presence, because it's like he's pulling energy from around him and he's like powering up.
All right. Well, I'm going to try and make sure that I, work on, protecting him. So if I'm going to try and like grab, as I'm dodging, I'm going to try and grab something, be it some rubble or just something on the ground, whatever. And try
you can grab either a big like metal trash can that's got like the faux like concrete-ish stuff around it, so they're like super heavy, or you can grab the metal park seat that he fell over and half through when he was retrieving.
I'm gonna go with the trash can because I feel like it's gonna be better. I'm gonna throw it at Kid Devil.
Okay, give me a power.
All right, so I'm shooting for less, and I biffed it.
You pick it up and you launch it, and Kid Devil's like, "Oh shit!" and starts to go backwards, and Matrix grabs it and hurtles it right back at you. She like super speed grabs it and throws it almost like before you can blink.
Yeah, that sounds like something that they would do.
and Triumph makes it a magnetic field and then just sets it right down in front of you. And kind of stands, he gets up and stands right next to you, and he's like, looks kind of sideways at you. He's like, "You ready for this?"
Okay.
Kind of nods at you like, "All right, well, let's do this." Like all of a sudden, it's like when it's the lights are on and shit's going down, it's like, okay, well, I'm a superhero, so I'm a superhero. John Q, what are you doing? As this guy kind of who's like coal black with like fire leaching out of him, like walks up and he just kind of walks towards you, and he's like, "No offense, I got to do this."
Can I? Is he like in a like defensive pose, or is he like kind of underestimating me?
It's more just like walking up, sizing you up. Like again, he's like, "Oh, this is a magic guy. I too am a magic guy. Let's do magic stuff."
Okay. I throw some sand in his face.
I love that you're a faceless hunter and you're like, my answer to everything is sand in the face. It melts because he's literally burning.
Here's the thing though. It's the Sandman's sand.
It's sand from the Sandman.
So
yes.
the Kirby Sandman, or
all the Sandmen, they all use the same sand.
Oh,
remind me again what it does.
It puts you into, it directly connects you to the dreaming and materializes the dreaming around you temporarily if you overuse it.
Perfect. So you walk up on this, and like, I'm assuming that's not what you threw at that other guy, or was it the same?
It was.
Okay, so that perfect. That threw you off a little bit because it disappeared when it hit him. Like,
yes,
it did nothing. But before that brimstone, like all of a sudden the dreaming opens up around him, and you see hell. You see Neuron's realm, and you see like let's just say you see Neuron, and he looks and he goes, "Oh, I thought you went away." Oh, well, isn't this something special? And you see Brimstone like go, "Oh my God, what have you done?" And he's like, "Oh, Joey, we're so happy to have you back." And the dreaming closes with Brimstone on the other side. Before
Nice.
it does, Neuron looks at you and smiles and says, "You're going to be so much fun when you come visit." He turns and looks.
I tip my hat.
He turns and looks at the man with the shifting face, and you see this John Q, but no one else does. There is fear. There is terror in his face. It's only for a little bit.
When he sees the faceless guy?
The guy's face keeps changing. You're like, by the way, I love that version of the comet that you sent me. I would send that to Colin, because I do.
I saw it. That's yeah.
Yeah.
He looks
Impact baby.
He looks like, oh shit. River too far. I'm out of here. Boom, 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 bye, 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 bye. Sorry.
Bye.
Sorry. No offense. And the guy just kind of stands there and he puts his hands behind his back, like, I can't do anymore because my shoulders don't work, and just kind of like rocking back and forth while watching this massive superhero fight. Bunker Buster, what are you doing? Because Terra Man is doing Terra Man shit.
Where is he in relation to me? Now that I'm up on top of the...
flying, like kind of in front of you.
I'm going to having my my kind of like my fist charged up for a blast. I'm going to say, "Save a horse, bust a cowboy," and try to.
Amazing.
And then
I rolled a 3.
Perfect. And then you as this Zardoz looking with him.
Yeah. He like has got his poncho and he pushes it back and he goes, "Well, you look like an eco accident waiting to happen." And like puts his gun in, you're like, yeah, fuck off. Ride a cowboy. You blow a hole through his mechanical horse, and he goes, "Oh no." And and he falls off the side and comes crashing down. I will ask you, does he come crashing down on the grass or on the street? What kind of hero are you?
I guess I really wasn't preparing for this, so it's probably going to be in the street, since I wasn't really paying attention to like the people around me or any bystanders or anything.
So follow-up question: in the street where you blasted a hole so it's dirt, or in a street where it's just straight up concrete?
Straight up concrete flying everywhere, shrapnel happening.
Okay. He lands and he does not get up. He's just a normal guy. Dressed like cowboy, ride on flying horse from future. He's
robot horse from future.
Yeah, you're not sure if you killed him or not.
I thought he had.
Okay. And then I'm like, if I have the wherewithal, I'm gonna try to alert Triumph to like this mechanical energy infused horse. Like,
oh, it's fucked. It's got a huge.
Okay, so he can't draw power from it. Okay, all right.
No, it's like it like falls down, like crash, fall over.
Okay. I might feel a tiny pang of guilt, but I'm not going to show it.
I'm not going to dwell on this guy murdered. He had it coming.
He did.
So, let's go back, John. Let's go back to the detail. Detail. What are you doing now? Now that you and Triumphs are standing side by side, but you were staring down. You realize a considerable amount of dangerous folks.
Yeah, like, I mean,
damage hasn't even gotten into the fray yet, and you're dealing with what essentially is Supergirl, Blue Devil, and the Hulk. Did I freeze or you guys all froze?
I'm here.
You're here, Matt. Did you freeze? No, you're kind of there.
I think we're all here.
Okay.
Hold
What are you
on.
doing, Detail?
There we go. Now I'm back. All right, my stuff was
All right.
freezing up. I'm just gonna try and get out of the way.
Okay.
Get some distance and kind of reevaluate, because I don't really. I mean, I can't fight damage or a Kryptonian, or I mean, I'm done. If that we get into
You
that.
can give it a shot.
Yeah, I sure could, but
Also, remember, if you roll on your dice your exact number,
mhm,
you have great power and great responsibility.
that's right.
So
Oh,
if you roll, what's the other thing? Oh, you also at the same time you also will roll at that time also can trigger a power responsibility crisis. So
So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go at damage and try and dodge between his legs.
perfect.
Mm.
Perfect. You're not using a power or anything, so I'm fine with that just going. If you're gonna do something else in that, you can extend that out to be like like think about it this way. If you're not using a power, this type of game, I'm just gonna say it works. But if you're like, I want to slide between his legs and then I'm gonna come up behind him and I'm gonna belt him in the back of the leg.
Right. No, I mean, if anything, if I could do it, I would want to try and like time it so that one of the other people was coming after me, and I might be able to have them
Perfect.
hit
No,
damage
I love it.
But
So Matrix, like you go charging and she thinks you're charging at her, and at the same time, Triumph blasts Kid Devil off his feet. And she like looks at him and then looks at you, and kind of you can see the wheels turning. Like I don't know exactly who to hit. And you run right past her. So
Okay.
she like goes shit, and she turns and flies after you. You can feel her on like her breath on your neck, and you charge a damage and you drop and slide right between his legs. Now you can make me a power check to see how well this goes.
Hey, I got a 3. Which is my number.
It's your number?
Yep.
She hits him and she just keeps going with him. And she hits him pretty hard, and he like looks down and like pushes her off of him. And they like stare at each other for a good like 30 seconds where you're like, are these two gonna start fucking fighting? These two either going to have some vigorous lovemaking, or they're going to have a fist fight. I can't decide which I would prefer. There is definitely a moment of like, and that's when Deathwing finally makes their presence felt.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Oh, forgot about that.
Everyone
forgets about that.
Probably. You find yourself like flat on your back, and that's when 2 feet, Claudio Castagnoli style, stomp down on you, and a pair of knives come right for your eyes. Bunker Buster, what are you doing? You're kind of seeing all this happen from above.
Are there like any like cars or anything in the street or anything like that?
Yeah. It's it's Battery Park. It's a relatively busy area.
Well, if whatever kind of object is closest that could also knock away Deathwing, I'm going to try to use my blast to like hit that into him to knock him away from Detail.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Make me that power check.
Oh shit! I rolled above.
You rolled you missed.
Yeah, I rolled a 6. My power's a 4.
Okay, perfect. He reaches down, Detail, and he rolls you into the blast, and you take a massive blast to the back. Also, I'm trying to remember how damage works in this game.
It's from like the rules. It's just kind of
I
wibbly wobbly.
will say this: you take damage to where you are always +1 now on your power and -1 on your responsibility, because that makes it more difficult. So we'll just add those like that. That's how we'll do damage.
Okay.
So you're like, you took a blast, and you're like, oh God, and he's still like, jujitsu, rolling with you at this point. Like he's gone from trying to stab you in the eyes now to trying to choke you with like a gi choke. So, around the neck like this and then pulling tight. But he's got his legs wrapped around you as well. And he is doing so in a very uncomfortable way. Just kind of, he's in a weird costume and he seems like he's really into this. And you're like, ow, I'm burning on the other side. John Q, what are you doing? I'm sorry, Deathwing is like a weird, he's like, hey, I'm sexy Dick Grayson from another timeline, and I'm a weird kind of sadist dude.
It depends on the version of him, but yeah, he's always been, it's an interesting look.
Yeah, here, I'm gonna share this screen.
Yeah.
This is definitely, I think this is Bart Sears' art as well. That looks very Bart Sears-y.
I'm not sure.
He's got lots of ripped muscles. I mean, look, he's edgelord.
Oh yeah,
he's the hardest of edgelords. Okay.
There's the other one that's kind of like a zombie-looking guy. The post like 52 version.
I don't think I'm overly familiar with that. I think when I think of Deathwing, I also always think of like
he was a Dollatron. Oh.
Yes, he was a Dollatron, which I love. That's kind of cool that they retconned that into existence.
I didn't know. Okay, and Dr. Hurt. All right. Well, I like that. Yeah. Anyway.
I like when they wrap weird shit around itself.
Yes.
Like I love that Professor Pig was like supposed to be a one-off villain, has now become this weird pseudo reoccurring insane person that where Grant Morrison was like, yeah, I just made
made up some names.
They were supposed to be loosely based on Lewis Carroll stuff, and it just grew its own life. So then I was like, well, I don't want to write more Professor Pig, but I have to write more Professor Pig because he demands it. This character has become its own thing, and I can't control it.
Well, and in the Arkham games universe, he kind of became like a weird Mario Batali looking thing. Like he had the Crocs and stuff.
Yeah, he's like a chunky boy. I find him to be. He and his little sidekick, Mr. Toad, who loves driving fast cars, makes me really happy.
I mean, I also love the flamingo. But...
Yeah. That's the Minnesota in you, though.
Yeah.
I enjoy all those Club of Villains characters. So
okay. I want to do something, but like I feel like it's a little bit overpowered and might be overstepping. So tell me if I'm going like too far. Okay.
Collaboration. You give and take. What do you got for me?
Okay. So no one's currently focused on me because like I got Brimstone out of the way, correct?
Yes. The only thing that's literally focused on you is you've noticed that this masked individual is just looking over at you like watching you more than they are paying attention to Triumph.
All right, so okay, so I'm just going to do it. I'm going to walk towards the masked character, but also as I do on like my arm, which does not have the current sigil, I write a word on my arm and I walk up towards him. And as I finish my arm, can I share what I write on it?
Yes, please do. Perfect.
And I start to change. I start to like my trench coat gets darker, more disheveled, like crumpled. Like even though my race should not age, like I get more like lines on it,
Haggard.
and I just speak.
Starts
they
to
just
look
speak to him.
Dave McKean cover.
Yeah. And I just say, I don't think you have much influence over me anymore. And I walk away from him.
He looks at you, and the like thin-lipped thing, you can hear it cracking as it smiles, and the smile is too wide. It says, I think you vastly underestimate what I have influence and control over.
My response is, you're no Dio.
He raised. What'd you say?
You're no Dio.
I sort
Dio?
of, Dio?
Dio as in God, but also
He raises a finger, and all that change literally just erases off of you. And he's like, I'm afraid we're not telling that story today.
As long as he doesn't turn him into a New 52 version with a lot of extra piping and
Don't give me ideas, Matthew. He looks at you though, and he
now
says,
for some reason.
he says, I do find you potentially I'm trying to think of the word here. I wish my brain wasn't so sleep deprived. He says, I do see potential in you. I think you could potentially give me a larger share. What would you say to we'll call it a limited run? And then again, waves his finger, and you go back to that look. I think you do well with a certain demographic. All you have to do for me, John, is you have to make sure, he points over Triumph, that you deliver him to me. This isn't something personal. It's not some foolish capes back and forth. That's why I think you and I can have a dialogue about this. This is for the betterment of everyone involved. All these people punching each other, it's great. The kids love it. But I'm trying to do something a little more adult, a little more creative. So certain toys have to go back in the toy box. You help me. I make sure that you get your shot.
would it be a one shot?
I'm thinking we'll start with the limited series and we'll see how things go.
You seem like a real who's who, as it were.
Well, when you sit at the big desk, you tend to make the biggest decisions. What do you say? I can turn all your fictions into reality. When you look at him for that moment, you're standing in that proximity, those faces slow down. And you have a moment where you're like, this thing in the shape of a person should not exist. This is something so far outside the realm of the worlds I live in that this is, well, you said you're no Dio, you're no God. This is something beyond that. This is something that you realize for the first time, just like, oh, this is so the opportunity that I would not think of John Q as being afraid of that, because I would think as a faceless hunter, it's kind of like, well, I do what I do and I do it. I don't remember if they have some type of religion or something they follow. I think of them a little more pragmatic than that. And correct me if you have a different interpretation, but like, oh, you're like an over thing. You're like a creator. So you're offering me basically free reign. Like, I think that's kind of what I'm trying to get across in this short back and forth is like, this person's like, if you give me this thing, then I'll give you everything.
I will come back and I think in the spirit of good negotiations, I need some quiet and motion to like the conflict behind me happening to properly understand the contract as it was.
He looks at you, and again, that smile goes across this face before lowering back down to that tight-lipped look of the mask, and snaps his fingers. And you are outside of everything. You're outside the panels, and you're like in this space of all white. There is nothing there. And then you hear footsteps. Detail. You are being harangued by sexy ass Deathwing. Triumph is just throttled the shit out of Kid Devil. So he didn't kill him, but he beat him.
Yeah, he's down.
And Supergirl and Damage have now kind of reluctantly turned their head back to where you two are. You three, counting Deathwing.
I'm going to try and flip Deathwing into them. Into the outsiders here.
I don't feel like that's really you worked in the DEO. You have basic training. I'm going to say, with your powers, that's not really a stretch.
Okay.
So you flip him off of you. If you want it to go a particular way, then I would ask you for a roll. But if you just want him off of you,
I'm just trying to get him off of me and over to them.
Okay. You are able to do so. When you do, like as he's floating in the air, he like does a very elegant flip and he lands and Damage catches him in his hand and fastball specials him right back at you.
All right. Well,
and he's smiling with his pearly whites, and he's got his two swords like out at you, and he's like, "Yay!"
I'm gonna try and dodge.
Okay. How are you dodging? What are you doing? You just getting out of the way?
I think I want to try and redirect him, or do something. Do something that's going to cause him some damage if I can.
What are you thinking? I will also Triumph is right there. So if you're like, I want to do this with Triumph to do this, or I want to set this up for Triumph, I mean, I'm definitely fine with that. Or also Bunker Buster is right up in this area as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's comics, so we can compress all of our speech into a real small,
Yeah.
Speaking as a free action.
Yeah, it's we can give an entire speech while we're punching a person.
Yes, for real.
So, I think I've twigged to what's going on here, so I'm gonna say, Triumph, you think those swords are metal?
He smiles and he says, "I do believe most swords are."
So I'm just gonna dodge that and let Triumph do what he does.
He powers up, and as you dodge, he just launches Deathwing into the you don't know how far. He just throws him electromagnetic, just goes by and yeets him across Battery Park. Just it's one of those things where everybody stops for a minute and goes, "Damn." Somewhere along the lines, he may have dropped the swords just to
yeah.
But you're not sure because if that happened, it was far enough away that it doesn't matter. Bunker Buster, what are you doing throughout all this?
Who's left in the fray?
Right now, it's Triumph walking over to where Detail is and offering him a hand. You just saw John Q literally just disappear as he was speaking to this masked man. He literally just, he was erased, much like you've seen erasing going on in this entire story. And then you see Damage and Matrix Supergirl, and they are now just like charging Detail and
I give myself a little one of these, and I jump off the building and using my blasts with kind of like my feet going out first in like kind of like a John Romita Spider-Man kind of looking way. I go bunker kick and launch myself at Damage's throat.
Rider kick. All right, you
3.
fly. Is that your number, isn't it?
4 is.
Okay. You kick him like a guile flip kick, and his neck snaps backwards, and he comes up on his toes. He does not fall. And you land like right in front of him, and he like gets flat-footed again, looks down at you, and he like rolls his neck, and you hear all these things cracking inside of him. And he looks down at you, and he just grimaces and like through a smile and just grunts.
Oh no.
Matrix flies right by you. Just like, okay, well, you take care of this. I'm going to take care of that. As is all going on, the masked man goes, you hear him. His mouth doesn't move, but you all hear him. He says, well, this just won't do it all. He snaps his fingers, and the outsider members that had been beaten all rematerialize. Meanwhile, between the panels, you hear footsteps, John Q, and that's when you see a young man dressed in like, he's a teenager, he's dressed in like teenager clothes. And he's got like a backpack, and you can see a blue and white suit hanging out, like the back of it, like a spandex suit. And he goes, oh man, like you should not be here, man. Like this is not cool, man. Like I got put here and I don't like it very much. And I think I found a way out, but are you like, you're not him, are you?
No, I'm something else. Who are you?
Like my name's, I mean, I guess we're like well beyond like secret identities and stuff. And he pulls out a mask that is blue with white eyes and a white triangle thing. He's like, my name's Derek. Sometimes I wear this thing and I'm called Sideways. The rogue architect trapped me here because I wouldn't do the stuff he wanted me to do. I can't. But I mean, I know why the others did, but I can't. I just can't. But I think I found a place that he can't get to. Like for now, I guess. I mean, he can get probably anywhere, and he starts like, you can see his mind spinning. He's like, oh God, he can like probably get anywhere. This is terrible. What about my mom? He's just like, oh no, why am I even doing this? This is a bad idea.
I try to be as calming as possible, just like, without a face. But I'm still, Vertigo version.
Yeah.
So
Currently you're very Vertigo.
yeah. Real quick, like you said, I'm between I'm like into gutters. Like, do I see the action that is happening around me, like in panels?
You can see,
or is it stark white?
Well, think about like the panels as like almost like a flat space, but with the action being in 3D above it. You can see it like so far in the distance, it's like dots, but you can see that motion that far off. But if you walk towards it, it just keeps getting, it stays that same distance. You are literally lost in the gutters.
Okay.
He's like, I don't know you. You don't know me, but if I help you, will you help me?
That's what heroes do.
You see him finally, like a small smile across his face, and he says, "That's what heroes do." And he pulls his mask on, just his mask. He leaves the rest of his suit in there, and he goes, "All right, then, hang on." And he grabs a hold of your arm.
Oh, wait. Before that,
He doesn't wait because he's a teenager. He doesn't wait. He grabs you by the arm and teleports you back to the Battery Park area around your friends, and then teleports you all away. Bunker Buster, you had just got clocked by damage, so you're like flying back across, like into where everybody else is. Detail in trying for like standing, waiting for Supergirl to get there, and this kid, obviously a kid, like literally just lands in the middle of you and blinks you out of existence. And you all blink back in, and you're standing in a graveyard in a southern state with a big house on one end of the graveyard and a big house on the other side.
Do I feel oddly comfortable in this scenario?
You feel very comfortable. You're like, oh man, I feel kind of good about this. He's like, we should go inside. I think that's what keeps him out.
Where the hell are we?
I don't know for sure, but do you ever just like feel some places, like some places you shouldn't be? Like there's places beyond. He's like, I'm not explaining this, but as someone who jumps around, I can find places that I shouldn't be able to find and go places I shouldn't be able to go. And this is a place I feel like I shouldn't be able to go, but I can go there.
My friend Lucas, let's just say sometimes life presents you mysteries and secrets.
All right, if you say so. Let's get. If we think we might be safe from this insanity in there, then fine. Let's go.
Oh, but before that, I want to try to give us a little bit of extra protection.
Okay.
I'm going to draw us. I'm going to on everyone sort of have them roll up their shoulders so I can put a sigil on their thing to sort of help protect them.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm gonna share it real quick. I did not know it was going to go in this direction, so I did not prepare as much.
The surprise is the best part. It's gonna get. I mean,
yeah,
This is just the amuse bouche of what kind of weirdness is about to happen. But I am going to speed things up just a little bit so we can get all the way through it, because I don't want to leave this on a cliffhanger, except for the cliffhanger I have planned.
All right. So that's a sigil which I put on everyone's shoulder.
Perfect. Perfect. You do that. As you're kind of drawing this, a man starts to make his way up the winding road from the other house, the further away house.
Is he kind of fat, and does he have a gargoyle?
I mean, does he? I mean, why wouldn't he? He's like, oh, I didn't see you there. Would you, I don't know where you're going, but I know where I'm going. Are you also going to? And he points at the house that you're closest to.
Are you off to speak with your brother again today?
He looks at you and he says, I am. How did you know?
So when I go up to him and I whisper a secret into his ear and like say, maybe today you do not have to.
Maybe today you don't trust him.
Maybe so I whisper a secret to him because he trades in secrets.
What's the secret?
And I say the secret is, ooh, I know why ravens congregate.
He like looks at, he claps. He's like, "Oh my goodness!" He's like, "Oh, perhaps we should have tea with my brother. I am sure there's so much we could learn from one another." And he like, "Come on!" And he him and his little doorbell scamper up the stairs, and he rings the elaborate doorbell. And he's like, he should be here. He opens and he says, "He should be here." Moment, and that's when a sledgehammer crashes into his skull, just crushing him, killing him instantly. And the man wielding it looks like this. And he says, "Oh, I didn't know we had visitors. Don't mind the mess. I'll be cleaning it up shortly." He has like a trash bag over his shoulder. He lays the bloody sledgehammer against the wall, and he's like, "I believe you're expected."
Can I make a quick comment?
We're supposed to be safe here?
You can always make a comment. It is your prerogative.
I was hoping it was going to be Elvira this time around.
She's in her summer home. He says dryly. The gentleman,
I motion for the group to come.
The gentlemen who are currently utilizing the house are expecting. You make your way inside, and you are directed to what looks like a massive library, except for there's books strewn out everywhere. There's massive whiteboards, and you see two men arguing. One has their sleeves rolled up. They've got glasses that almost completely obscure like their eyes. They're almost like fogged over. And
Do they look like a librarian?
They look like a cross between a librarian and a scientist. And they are arguing very vociferously with this other individual. You see them.
Ooh.
And then you see the person they're arguing with, who is this man with the typewriter, with this like typewriter, who has a thick Scottish accent.
A very big brogue, if you will.
A brogue, if you will. And they are arguing, and the man with the Scottish accent seems to be taking the piss out of this other man. And they're arguing about timelines. And you all hear words like hypertime. And you're hearing things very similar. In fact, when the man with the typewriter sees your little sigils on you, he says, see what I tell you. They'll be here anytime. You're such a Nancy. And Dr. 13 is the name of the scientist, and the other is the writer. And the writer plops down on the couch and smiles and says, "It took you a sweet time."
Oh,
Well,
I was hoping to meet you in the panels.
At that point, Triumph is like, "I need to rest. I don't have anything left." And Dr. 13 is like, "Well, I know there's a room, and I'll show you where it is." You can hear as they're walking down the hallway him going, "Why the ridiculous costume? It doesn't even fit you. This metal makes no sense. What?" You just hear him like asking like leading negative questions the whole time he leads him down the hallway to a room. So you're sitting in this room with the writer. And the writer kind of looks at all of you and then looks at sideways and says, "Oh, you're not supposed to be here." Wait, when the rogue architect finds out, that's a sin pen for you. He looks at the rest of you and he says, "Oh, I don't know you." Also, my Scottish thing is terrible, but I don't care.
That's okay.
Oh, I don't know any of you. You new on the block. Speak up. Speak up.
That? Let's just say,
I have no idea what's happening here. This makes no sense.
He starts typing on this typewriter that's literally like wearing like a pair of suspenders, and he just starts typing. And he goes, "Oh, well, make it easy for you. Exposition dump." And as he's writing, like the whiteboard just starts filling up. And it tells you that this thing that is following you is the rogue architect that you have stumbled into in between the panels. You have stumbled into a very secret world that you should not know about. But now it's too late. Now you're between the panels and there's no way to get yourselves out of it. And this is the realm of the architects. These are the people who control everything. They are the imagination that makes the omniverse run. But there is a rogue architect. This rogue architect has decided that continuity needs to change. Shareholders must be fed. So new ideas will come and they'll go just as fast. If they don't grab the audience and dividends are not met. A lot of this makes no fucking sense to you at all.
Yeah, I mean, I thought I knew who controlled the universe, or at least Earth, and it wasn't this.
This isn't even one of those large cosmic scale Donnybrooks. This is beyond that. These are the puppet masters that pull the strings of everything. One of these even killed me previously. But you know what you can't do? You can't kill an idea. And if nothing else, I'm an ideas man, Michael. Remember the fuck mountain. And he's like, you can't kill an imp if you don't know his name. And he smiles and he says, but you, oh, he knows your names. So what are we going to do about it, gentlemen?
What can we do?
You can give up the D-lister and maybe I'll let you go. Or you can help him. Depending on the time, I would tell you either way. Vaz going to wear the black hat and the black jacket, and he looks right at John Q. He says, I would probably just hand him over. But if I'm going to wear the tighty spandex, and he looks at Detail on Bunker Buster, and he says, I'd probably try to help him. Your choice. But you can be around here for a little bit of time before he figures out where you're hiding. There's places like this. Houses of secrets and mysteries.
Soft places.
Soft places, bars on the edge of nowhere.
Desert vistas that extend on all directions.
Rocks that dwell beyond all things in eternity. Constants, zones, hells, heavens, limbo, dreamings, leads. Places where the architects have a harder time getting their fingers in. You can hide there for a while, but this one, he'll keep coming. He knows how his mask keeps changing because he has nothing to hold on to. That's why he's gone rogue.
I mean, John, this is I don't even know. This is so far out of my frame of reference. You seem to have a better handle on this than any of us. What do we do?
I
About
do.
that time, Kane brings in tea crumpets.
Uh,
I've
So-
brought you in refreshments. The doctor is speaking to the gentleman in the room, helping him sleep.
I think the one sigil which I have on my arm, I wipe it away and I go back to my regular version.
Yep. The writer smiles. Is look at you, man. Decision. Look at you. No more moral ambiguity for this one. Full color all the way.
Huh,
Justice and all that.
maybe, but I do have a backup plan, and I'm going to see if it works. And if not,
You're a sneaky
I look
kid.
at.
That's why you have a backup plan.
I'm speaking. So I look at Bunker Buster and the detail and say, if this plan does not work, I will be gone, and it will be up to you.
So one thing I want to tell Detail and Bunker Buster, if you fiddle with that new one he made on your shoulders, it changes you. You become an alternate version of yourself. What kind of alternate? It's up to you. But the writer tells you, oh, that right there, that's powerful magic. You can be anything you want there. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Maybe you're a pirate flying zeppelins over a burning earth. Maybe you're a spaceman riding on a horse underwater. Don't matter. Anything's possible there. Kane says, drink up. It'll get cold. Taking him up on the offer?
I motion to people. It's
Detail,
way
drink.
off.
Yep.
Detail, make me a power check.
5. My power is 4 currently. So I think
You are poisoned and you are literally going to die. Kane puts his hands together and goes, sorry, that was for my brother. Wrong pot. And the writer looks at Bunker Buster and John Q and says, are you going to do anything about it? Or
Can I go up to the writer and like whisper, can you write in an antidote?
I never thought you'd ask. He writes something and a jar appears in your hand.
I go up to the detail and is it a solve or liquid?
It's a liquid, so you can just pour it right in his
just
mouth.
pour it in. All right. I'll drink the antidote.
DTA, don't trust anyone.
Well,
Dr. 13 makes his way out and he says, your friend is asleep. He's suffering from exhaustion. And what my understanding in theoretical sciences is chronal fatigue. He's being pulled through the time stream, or what I've deemed hypertime. And the writer says, he didn't make that up. I made that up. He stole it from me. And then there's
I know, and it still doesn't make sense.
there's a rap on the door. And the writer's keyboard starts going by itself. And he goes, oh, guess who's coming to dinner? Kane comes back and says, I believe it is for you. And he says,
Does he point to all of us or anyone in particular?
You three. At the door
Okay.
is a very, very pretty young lady, dressed in a gown that looks to be made out of shards of gems. And she's standing there very much in a kind of like pensive way, like, I really don't want to be doing this. Also in a very like sword and sorcery look.
Florida gems purple.
A lot of them are purple. I just took
amethyst, if you will.
Yeah, amethyst, if you will, baby. And she says, I'm really, really sorry about this, like all of it. But I think you know what's going on. Do you know what's going on? Do you know what's going on?
No.
The writer is like leaning behind all of you.
No freaking idea.
Do you know what's going on? I think all of you knows what's going on. And says, you just have to give him to me so I can give him to the architect. I don't want to do this. It doesn't feel right, but I also want to be out of the bin. Can you do this? He says that if you do this, even Stevens, no harm done. Over your shoulder, Bunker Buster, you can feel this teenager who has referred to himself as Sideways, like go, oh man, he already found us. I'm running out of juice. And he kind of leans on you and goes, we can't give him up now.
What should we do, kid?
Well, I think
I
know a place. John Q, detail, what are you doing?
I mean, I'm not gonna. I'm still just very, very confused. I have no idea what's. Yeah.
She's like, you can always just invite me in, and then I can go get him. And when she says that, Dr. 13, the writer, and even Kane go at the same time. You hear them go, no. And she goes, but I wasn't talking to any of you.
I ask her, is he outside?
She sighs and she says, I tried. And she walks away almost like defeated, like head down, shoulder slumped. She kind of stomps almost down the stairs, and you see him standing in the graveyard. And he gives you one of these. And then they start clawing their way out of the graves. The first one is Kane's brother Abel, because he's the most recently deceased. His head completely mashed in where it should be. It's just dented in with a sledgehammer hit him. Fresh gore dripping out of him. And the writer says, oh, this is definitely not code approved. More zombies are crawling out of their graves. Some of them actually wearing costumes. And you start to go, I know who that person is. I know who that person is. Oh my God. Some of them in plain clothes, but you start to put together, these are people that I remember knowing about through other heroes. These are friends and family, and oh God, what am I seeing? And before you know it, there's hundreds of them creeping up towards the house in a Romero style slow lurch. And Kane says, oh dear, I believe it's time to shut the door. And shuts and locks the door. Dr. 13 is like, this isn't the first time this has happened. Pulls a hammer out of his back pocket and slowly begins. He's like, I believe what this is, as he's pounding nails on wood to cover the windows, is some sort of disease, a necrotizing variant of fasciitis that is simultaneously. He goes on, and the writer covers his face as a fucking zombies twat. And they start to smash their way through the windows. He can't put the barriers up fast enough. And when you look out the window, you see that it's zombies for as far as the eye can see. In fact, John Q, you could actually now see off the panel, and you just see the gutters, and you just see zombies. And some of them are even wearing shirts that have a logo on it that says the word Marvel.
So I sent you something in Discord.
You did. I'm not sure what it means, but I think it looks cool.
It is the logo for. You probably know what that website is, or you might not.
I don't think
that is. Oh boy. So this is what I do.
Okay.
I take off my hats, I take off my coat, and I also take off my shirt. And on my body, I take my smudge stick out of my thing, and I write, and I'm going to share this logo.
Perfect.
If no one knows who it is, I'm not going to explain it, but
I'm not familiar with it. It looks cool.
I want to see it.
I write that sigil all over my body.
Matt, do you know what that is?
I don't.
You went so deep that even we couldn't keep up with it.
So that is the logo for AO3.
Archive of Our Own?
Oh, the fan.
Yes.
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 Okay. You're like, I see your meta and I raise you.
And so
when you do this, like the zombies are starting to come into the house. They just ignore you. They go right past you. Like you're not there. And Sideways says, we have to leave. And he puts his
Yes, let's go. Let's get out of
there. Triumph like is coming down the hallway smashing zombies. He like looks so tired, but he's just like these things, they burst through the window, and he's like, oh no. He looks at all of you, and he looks at you, John, and he says, like he's kind of like his brain is processing this symbol. Like he's having a hard time even seeing you, but it's like when he looks at that symbol, it's the idea of looking at something in a Lovecraftian story where it's like, this symbol hurts my eyes. Like it's too much for my brain to actually comprehend. Do you grab onto Sideways? Who does and who doesn't?
Yes, yeah.
Bunker Buster, you in? You out?
Yeah, I guess so.
John Q, in or out?
How far is the masked guy from me between the zombies? Could I theoretically get to him quickly?
No. You can get to him, but not quickly, because you're going to have to fight your way, not fight, just push your way through these zombies that are literally ignoring you.
Okay, so, all right. So I'll go with are we, again, like, I sort of like look towards like the panels and like off it, and I ask, and towards the writer, off the panel and towards the writer, are we near endgame?
He smiles and he says, only if you're lucky.
All right. Then I say, let's go, kid.
Pop. And this time you end up somewhere very, very different from almost anywhere you've been before, except for maybe John Q. I gotta find it real quick. I thought I had it out and I did not. Maybe there's not a picture of it anywhere. I can't believe that.
What are you looking for?
You find yourself in a space that's completely white, and you're standing on a front porch of a crooked house. A house moving at a lot of different angles. And Sideways looks at all of you and says, this might have been a terrible idea, but I'm running out of ideas. And he knocks on the door. And I guess this is, there it is. There is the house. All right. I'm going to present you with this house. There it is.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Also, here's another look at it. Because it's never quite the same.
No.
And at the front door is this person.
Well, now that person I would recognize.
Yeah, I would hope you guys would kind of recognize this guy. He answers the door and he says, well, I see the neighborhood's gone to shit. I would say come in, but I really don't want to be involved in this. And he starts to shut the door, and so I was like, hey, I know that, like, listen, man. He's like, and he stops for a second, and he takes his helmet off, and he kind of leans against the door jamb. He says, cape, 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 and then looks at John Q and says, maybe a cape, and looks at Triumph, and he goes, loser. What do you want? I don't know how you got here. I would love to say I'm intrigued to know, but I'm really not. And Sideways looks at all of you, and he says in a very hushed voice, the architects. And you see Prometheus smile and opens the door and says, come on in. You sit in a living room with a fire raging, and the fire's green and it smells weird. This whole place, everything is weird. All of your senses feel weird. And he says, so you guys know about the architects?
Sure.
See, the architects,
I know enough.
the architects are the guys who take concepts and people like you and I, and they ruin them. I got ruined. But every time
Maybe you were just a bad idea.
Every time he looks at you and he smiles and he's like, I would disagree with that. And you see his club kind of power up, and he's like, I would think about how you speak to someone in their home. And then goes back to kind of a subtle rant of saying, sometimes, even though they try to ruin us, you can't keep a good idea down. And I just keep popping up like a bad penny. And every time they try to rub me out, I come back home for a while. And I think. And I think. And I think. And I come back. And everyone remembers just why I am dangerous. So, I guess the real question is, do you? And that's when the house gets fucking smashed. And a being plows through the house. And it's a being that instantly, all of you have this momentary oh God, oh no. And then immediately that goes away. And you're like, who the fuck is this guy? It's like it's there and then it goes away. It's there and it goes away. Almost like this person exists in some weird vibration of time. And they turn and look at you. And there they are. And they say, well, he's promised me that it'll be done right this time. No more mistakes. No more altars. No more hawks. Just things as they were meant to be. And he rips the house apart. And you're stuck in this weird pseudo-gravity well around the remains of the crooked house in the ghost zone. And he looks down at Triumph and he says, no offense, but you have to die. What are you going to do as Monarch starts to power up?
Can I call the architect?
The rogue architect, you can call him out.
Yeah.
I'm
willing to make a deal.
He's slowly drawn into the panel, and then he's standing beside you as you're floating. He's like, you rang.
Yes. The writer in there said, you know our names.
The writer. Overblown, overhyped, annoying. I'm sorry. You were saying.
Do you know what my name is?
He leans in really uncomfortably close and he says, you see, John, your name doesn't matter because I can change it.
It does in this thing.
I can change it whenever I want. It's called editorial mandate.
Well, here's the thing. There's some things beyond editorial mandate. And right now, I point to the sigil which I have written all over my body. My name is Chuck Tingle. And I kiss him.
He looks at it like he doesn't quite understand it. Like he's like it's again like it's like that Lovecraftian, like, what am I looking at? And you're like, Chuck Tingle. And he kind of looks
and I embrace him.
He goes, for a second, he goes, what? And then it's like, ah. And he's like kind of kicking a little bit, but he's also kind of like, okay, I'm in. At this point,
what a buckaroo.
Triumph flies at Monarch, and Monarch, you hear Monarch say, oh gods, not again, as Triumph reaches into his armor and starts to pull it apart. And there is the beginning of a nuclear explosion as Sideways bleeps you all out one last time. The entire time Chuck Tingle is in the mad embrace of the rogue architect, and you three land on the deck of what feels like a ship or maybe a station. Chuck, you land on top of the rogue architect, who now has his legs wrapped around you and is like, I'm into this. And you kind of like pull apart. And you're all there except for Bunker Buster. You find yourself face down in a snowbank. And you look up and you see a giant key. This key is like the size, like the length of a building. It's massive. And then you hear a whoosh, and a pair of red boots land in front of you. And you look up, and you see Superman. And he looks down at you, and he says, do I know you?
No, I don't know if you do, but big fan of your work.
He thinks really hard, and he goes, the Brownstone. I've met you before. You were at the Brownstone.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, he puts his hand out, not just to shake your hand, but he actually like helps you up. And not now like I'm a big jock way. He like helps you up. And he says, the alert. Moss sent out an alert. There was a thing at the Brownstone.
Yeah.
This feels wrong.
there's been a lot going on that's been wrong.
You
There's a lot
see his
going on
eyes
right now.
you see his eyes light up as he literally scans you with his vision.
Okay.
He's like, why are you bathed in radiation and chronal energy? Also, you have tinges of the Phantom Zone on you.
I fill him in on everything that's
You quickly like
Go
run
on.
things down, and he says 1 second. He pulls his JLA card out, and he says, "We have a situation. Can you meet me?" And he says, "I'll be right there." You walk inside the Fortress of fucking Solitude with
yeah.
Superman. You hear a loud noise as a boom tube opens up, and in through the boom tube into the Fortress of Solitude walks Batman. He looks you up and down, and he says, "Bunker Buster," and then just keeps walking. And he's like, "We need to walk and talk." And Superman, you and Batman are walking towards a Phantom Zone projector.
Mhm.
And another Superman walks out of a hallway, and another Superman walks out of a hallway, and another Superman walks out of a hallway. And he says, "I'm going to need you to operate the Phantom Zone projector so we can find our way where we need to go."
Mhm.
Yes, Superman. Of course, Superman. Until then, we will send out a patrol of Supermen in order to maintain the balance while you are gone. He says, "That sounds good." He looks at Batman. He says, "You got a contingency?" And he's like, "I always have a contingency." You walk and go through the Phantom Zone projector, but you don't go to the Phantom Zone. You go to the Ghost Zone where you just were, and you see the crooked house knitting itself back together. You do
Okay.
not see Monarch. You don't see Triumph, and you don't see Prometheus. Batman says, looks at you, and he says, "Prometheus, right?"
Prometheus.
He looks over and he says, "I have a theory about where they went." And he looks at you and says, "I need some of your blood."
You're Batman. You got it.
He gives you like this half smile and he says, "Good man." And the next thing you know, you are teleporting out of the Ghost Zone onto the deck of what looks like a space station.
Oh shit!
And-
Yeah. Okay.
And there are people operating machinery at this space station. And the more you look at them, the more you go, "I know who you are."
Yeah.
And Batman looks at some of them and says, "Aren't you dead?" And Superman like goes like this, and he and reaches out and he grabs you and he flies you at super speed, and that's where we get to our detail. Chuck Tingle and the Rogue Architect, who are Chuck and the Rogue Architect, are kind of like slowly pulling away from each other. Like,
Okay.
we took a moment there. Superman lands, and the Rogue Architect says, "Shit."
Is it? Do we still have time to write new sigils on ourselves and stuff like that?
No, we're in the end game. We're in the
Okay,
end
all right.
game. The Rogue Architect says, "Well, I can't really write you out." And then he looks at the detail and Bunker Buster and says, "But I can still write you out." And looks at Chuck and says, "We'll talk." And
Hold on.
montage of insanity occurs as multi-panels fold on top of each other. Different versions of you, as you touch your signals, pull through hyper time, and as fast as the Rogue Architect can erase them is as fast as they appear. A literal legion of supermen from across the Omniverse attack the Rogue Architect. And the whole time, you watch as Batman appears to be working on something on a small data pad. And the corner gone. Do. Things are being thrown. He just ducks his head and keeps working. And then he looks up for a second and goes, "Chuck Tingle?"
That's right, Buckaroo.
Yeah.
Love is real.
Yeah, he just looks at you and goes, "Love is real." And a massive rip in reality occurs. And a group of individuals walk out, male and female, all wearing masks. like the Rogue Architect wears, except for their masks are just one character each. And they say in unison, "We wish you luck in your future endeavors, Dan." And the Rogue Architect is erased.
Yay!
Then the architects look at you, and one of them has a mask that looks like all of you, all three of you. He pulls it out and puts it on. And he says, "I've been thinking about doing something like this. How would you gentlemen like to work between the panels?"
I ask, what's the dress code?
It smiles, except for the other mask was like this weird kind of jokery smile. This is a genuine smile. Like this face is a mask, but it looks very like personable. And it says casual.
I need that in writing from HR.
This is probably a bad idea, but yeah. All right.
They all smile very, very like very parentally at all of you, like proud parents. And say, "Well, unfortunately, you're not going to remember this part. This is due to NDAs, of course. But we're giving you a great opportunity." And then he points at you, Chuck Tingle, and says, "We're gonna have to work on that part." He says, "Chuck, love is love, and I love you, but we can't do that."
Can I respond?
Of course.
Well,
also, copyright prevents, and his hand moves and it erases the symbol you've drawn onto your chest. That's something we have to put back in Pandora's box. And you see the character Pandora show up and goes over, and while wiping that off your chest, it almost turns into like a liquid, like
ink.
Like paint moving in space, like a living thing. And he slowly lowers it in her box, and she shuts it. And she looks at you with like a smile and says, "I'm sorry." And then he looks at her and says, I think I have something for you now." And she smiles and she goes, "Thank you." And she kind of walks away. He says, "Now," and you come back to being John Q. He leans in really close to you, John Q, and says, "But I'm going to make sure we get Chuck to write the movie." And then leans back. He says, I'm already making phone calls. I've told James this is something that's not negotiable." He leans back and he says, "You won't remember this part, but I think we can do a lot of fun things together. And I'm glad you're on board." And he looks over at Batman and Superman and he says, "Well, have fun." And they disappear, and you find yourself just on this deck with Superman and Batman, and you all just as your memory of the architects fades quickly, it's replaced by this massive fight, and all these cool things happen, and you all realize though that you've seen the Great and Secret Show, and while you can't remember all of it, you know you have something special to do. And that's when Superman looks at you and he says, "I don't know what this place is. And currently," and there's like, you see his Justice League card like beeping, as "We have an emergency, so I can't take the time to figure it out. But I can't think of 3 people I would trust more with it." And you kind of realize that his memory of this is basically that you guys did all the heavy lifting. Because in all honesty, you did. And he looks at Batman and says, I'll meet you at the portal." He starts to walk away, and Batman stands up between you, and he kind of you feel him like evaluating you, like in that very Batman way. And he stops and he says, he looks around and he waits to hear Superman go through the portal. He says, there's things going on that the League can't handle, or they won't, or we don't understand. But the reality is there's always a place for people who will do that. And I think you're the right people for the job. I need you to deal with things outside the League. I need you to do things outside of everything. I need you to be outsiders. And the first thing I need you to look at is there's a traitor inside the League. I don't know who it is. It could be me. No one's above suspicion. I'll wait to hear what you find. He turns around, he starts to walk away, and he stops and looks back over his shoulder, and he says, good luck. And very Batman walks away. And the last thing you see is a group of people standing in this room. In the middle of the room, there's a large burning sphere with an eye in the middle of it. Introduces themselves as Brother Solaris. The combination of Brother Eye and Solaris, the doomed sun, but they've combined and they're from Earth 3, where they would be good guys. And they're hiding, and your base is in the bleed. And that means they can door you to anywhere. Your support team, well, your support team is made up of the ghosts of Ibis the Invincible and his wife Taya. They're ghosts. Dr. Mist, who's here to coordinate things and be your man in the chair, because he's done that before. Walker Gabriel, I'm the guy that knows about time stuff. Mitchell Shelley, I'm your history guy. Slam Bradley, well, if you need some information, I can figure it out. And Hank King Jr. Living outside of different universes means there's going to be psychological strain. I'll be your psychiatrist. And last but not least, walking into the room, looking like a normal person, is William McIntyre. He's got a little pen with a T on it. He says, I'm your backup. You can call me Triumph. And that's where we'll end.
Ooh. Nice.
Whew, I had to put on the gas at the end to get us through because we're having too much fun.
Pedal to the metal. That's all right. That's you're.
I had to go full Scott Snyder at the end and be like, all right.
The series got cut from 6 issues to 4, so you had to.
Before we got 13 minutes. So the first thing I want to ask you guys is, did you have fun?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Was it as
I think I did.
Was it as weird as promised?
Yes.
Did I make it weirder than promised?
You did, and I loved it.
That's honestly, Mitch, that would be that I would, because I know Ben's other question here. What it will be. And I would love if we could, keep this together. I had a hell of a time playing with you. So
I would, and that was my that was my second question is, who would be interested in being outsiders again? It may take it may take me a little bit to come up with something as insane as literally pulling from a Dr. 13 miniseries.
The stakes don't need to be as high.
They will not be. But I do kind of envision things as a little bit like an omniversal planetary.
I mean, now it's just this whole thing has me thinking what would happen if let's see if I can find it here.
I have to say,
I hope.
I had a hard time thinking anything would even get close to Mountain Monsters last night. I feel like we brushed up with that. We brushed against that insanity level of last night.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Was just like my metatextual nonsense.
Well,
I think like
now I'm waiting for John to pop that logo on as a sigil.
Yeah. I was waiting for that, or I honestly was also waiting for a milestone logo. I was waiting.
I was gonna do amalgam. That's the one I wanted to switch to at the end.
Or was the DC when they had a hold of the Archie line? Was that Red Line?
That was Impact.
Impact. Now you said that earlier. I don't know why.
Yeah.
There's so many things you could rub up against with that type of thing that I very much was like, okay, this is perfect. Like, this is the thing too.
Wildstorm could be wild.
Yeah, this is the thing that made me. And also, I want to say about Brother Solaris is very much in line with what Ship was for the Authority.
Yeah.
So it's very much like you want to go to Tokyo, a door opens up to Tokyo. But I love the idea. We didn't talk about the other person in your core support team would be the operator for Brother Solaris, which was Nastasi Luthor from Earth 3.
Oh,
so nasty Luthor.
Yeah.
Lex Luthor's niece, an enemy of Supergirl, but because it's Earth 3, she's a good guy.
Enemy of Ultra Girl.
Was she Ultra Girl?
She could be.
No, she would be Ultra Girl because it's Ultraman.
Lex Luthor is not Ultraman.
No, Lex Luthor is.
I know.
Lex Luthor is Lex Luthor.
Alex Luthor.
Yeah, but in Earth 3, it would be Ultra Girl because it's Ultraman.
Oh
right?
shit! You mean who she fought? Yeah, it would be Ultraman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I completely lost my mind there for a second. I'm so flooded with continuity error. My brain is just like air.
Did I ever lend you the Trinity series that Busiek did at DC, Ben?
The Trinity series. I don't know.
Because that's very Earth 3. There's a lot of Earth 3 stuff in there, and it gets really interesting. And
my favorite Earth 3 story, I think, is literally the Earth 2 thing that Morrison did, where it explains like you can't win on
you
and the whole idea of the favor bank.
Yeah, like whatever you do here is there's going to be an equal and opposite.
Yeah, but also that Earth 2, that version of Earth 2 operates on the idea of a bank of favors. Of like if Ultraman does something for you, you owe him. He doesn't really give a shit about gold or jewels or anything like that. It's all about like favor is the currency there. Because when Batman shows up and he like busts crime, Commissioner Gordon's like, what do you want? Like corrupt Gordon's like, what do you want?
Yeah.
Who do you want me to kill?
Yeah, why
what's gonna equal this out? And it's like, I don't want you to kill.
What's your payment?
I don't want you to kill anyone. Like I want you to be like, and basically he's like, I want you to be like my Jim Gordon. And he's like, oh, that shit doesn't work here. Fuck you, get out of here. And then the crime syndicate on Earth get their asses handed to them by Martian Manhunter and Aquaman. And they're like, realize like, oh fuck, we can't win here. Like, run away! Run away! Like Aquaman, I think he shoots his harpoon arm through Power Ring's fucking wrist, like breaks his arm.
Yeah,
it's like hard to use that ring when your arm doesn't work. Also, I think it's the first time we get the reference to the Power Ring of Earth 3 to be this entity called Volthoom.
I think that.
And Volthoom is an actual old school DC character who's like a demon who eventually consumes whoever calls it. So like all those different power rings that have been on Earth 3, Volthoom has eventually just consumed them. So it's always just looking for a new host. So that's why most of the power rings are kind of miserable because they're slowly being consumed. Anyway, so you all would be interested in going back to this at some point. I will ask this I think this might be my last question. Two questions, two-parter. Number one, part one, too metatextual and hard to decipher. Was it too niche and too like too what's the word I'm looking for? Opaque for someone to tune in and watch and go, I have no fucking idea what these assholes are talking about.
I mean, I could see that being, but I mean, whatever.
There was a couple times where I saw Colin go like, "What?" Like literally, Colin, I saw you go, "What?" Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, no, I had to look up like one or two characters for sure. I was just like, huh? What?
I saw Matt say what a couple times, but I couldn't tell if Matt was just like, I'm playing my character, or if Matt was literally going, what?
No, I mean, I think it was mostly character because, you know.
But yeah,
the character is very out of his depth.
All I saw with Mitch was like, oh, really? We're going to play 5
Yeah. No, yeah, my character thought.
Mitch was so game.
You have passed 4 dimensions. You are in the 5th dimension, the Mitch zone.
Well, no,
I am Mixius Picklick in this bitch.
There's very few things that shock me. Last night, Colin shocked the shit out of me when he revealed that he was a British actor playing a hillbilly on a fucking reality show. And just like, I was like, oh my God, this is the wildest shit ever. The other thing that will forever live in my mind when you were like, by the way, I'm Chuck Tingle. I was like, oh, what the fuck? What has just happened?
Yeah. So
I had to take him off board.
It was so good, you guys. My second part of the question was, is this something you would want to keep to you 3, or is this something
if other people want?
Is this would be something
sure,
where you could say, hey, to somebody else and say, if you want to come in, realize it's going to be fucking weird. Like,
yeah, if people need to drop in and out or whatever, I mean,
okay.
That would be cool because then it'd be like, you know, a real team with like revolving like heroes coming in and out and stuff like that. You know, maybe someone's
like
doing this.
It's like a task force, if you will, a Justice League task force.
Well, the way I kind of look at it too is, and you guys can tell me I'm crazy and it's like, I don't want to do it this way, but this is something I want you to think about. You don't have to give me an answer. This would be like the Detail, Bunker Buster, and John Q are the core 3. However, because you're stuck between panels in the gutter, so to speak, to me it means it doesn't mean every game we have to see that version of the Detail or that version of John Q or that version of Bunker Buster. You could be Bunker Buster from Earth, from the fucking Dark Multiverse for all I care, or from Earth 7. And be like, on this world, Rocky actually could do this.
The Bunker Buster who laughs.
Yeah. Oh my God, the Bunker Buster who laughs. Yes. I'm like fine with that.
I wanted to
but here's the key. Other people can come in and play, but only you 3 get that latitude. Only you 3, your characters are between panels, so you can do this thing where you're like, oh, this version of the Detail is the Detail from the 30th century who was in the Legion of Superheroes. Or John Q can be like, this is when John Q had the helmet of fate. You know, like, I'm fine with that because you guys put up with the craziest shit I could possibly throw at you.
It was great. No, man, it was awesome. It was really cool.
Wild. I mean, I think part of the, you know, we had the one character who was like, oh, I know what's going on and how to operate in this environment, and then 2 other characters who are like, wait, what? So
also, I'll be honest, I
didn't know if we could like tip our hat as the characters and be like, oh, we totally get this too.
I loved Bunker Buster's fucking Indiana Jones murder of Terraman. Terraman going, yeehaw, all this shit. He's like, boom, I blow your horse away. Have fun hitting the concrete. And then Detail's whole thing of like, oh, I'm fighting the Hulk and Supergirl. Great. All right, well, let me do all this shit. And then Bunker Buster dropping this massive shot on damage and him just being like, oh, you hit really hard, but guess what? I didn't even take a step backwards. You're fucked.
Yeah.
And
that was such an oh shit moment. I was just like, fuck.
Sideways is a character I actually really like. I like a lot of those characters, and I wish they used them more. They're just Marvel analogs, basically.
They are. I definitely, because I read the Terrifics, and then there was
The Terrifics is one of my favorite comics. Period.
I'm trying to remember what the other series that came out of that was. I didn't read all of
The
them.
Unexpected.
The Unexpected I read, and I
I did
liked.
not read that.
That one's wild.
I think DC was doing some wild shit. Same thing with their Young Animals series during that time. Like Cave Carlson has a robotic eye was I think the title.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah, I have it and haven't read it yet. Anyway,
the Young Animal stuff. Yeah.
I'm super happy that we got to do this. I hope you guys had a blast.
Yeah.
I had such a wild time.
I hope I threw some curveballs in there.
Oh man!
Oh my
Nick,
god!
You and me were making.
Oh my god! Did you?
Secret sauce? And every time you did something, I was like, "Oh, okay." Again, I thought we were playing 4D chess until you were like, "No, we're playing 5D chess now."
Like,
I
had to take the architect off the board. You know,
you did a good job. And also, we got to put. I felt like a very decent version of Superman and Batman in at the end. I will say that when you guys want to play next on this, we don't even have to stream it. We can just record it, and then we can just drop it in whenever we want. But I am all down for doing another Outsider. I'm all for doing another Outsiders game, or even just like short arcs of this. And thank you for everyone who watched. I don't know if I got any donations or anybody else got donations during this time period. If you did, thank you. If you just boosted the signal, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And to you three, Bombus, that was fucking great. I had so much fun. Like I said, I didn't think we'd be able to touch mountain monsters. But not only did you touch, you touched it in a Chuck Tingle love is love way, and which makes my game tomorrow. Fucking Oz is gonna have to be crazy to even approach.
You've got some good stuff lined up for that. So
yeah, chat did some wild shit for that game. All right,
I'll be curious to hear how it goes because I won't be able to play.
I don't know what's next. I'm tired.
Get some rest, bud. Get some rest.
I know I have the zone tonight at 9. So
all right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Mitch. That was wonderful. I look forward to playing.
Yes, that was great.
Thanks, Paul. All right, we're out.
All right. Bye.